Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy, Return of Apprenticeship, Capture the Demon Race Empress at the beginning. Chapter 81. After hearing Chen Daoshuan's response, Xiaoyao Palace Master naturally said goodbye and left very wisely. Suddenly, out of the thousands of people on the field, only the people from the Holy Mountain were left, as well as the man in the coffin and many corpses. Aren't you leaving? You still want me to give it away? Chen Daoshuan looked at the three elders of the Holy Mountain with some surprise and asked. Then we will take the two saints and say goodbye without bothering seniors to see them off. The elder carefully watched Chen Daoshuan's expression and said tentatively. I have no objection to you taking your Holy Mountain saint back, but since Li Yorong calls me master now, he is my disciple, Chen Daoshuan. Does your Holy Mountain want to kidnap my disciple Chen Daoshuan? Chen Daoshuan raised his eyebrows slightly. How could he send back the disciple he had finally deceived? The great elder looked aggrieved, but he didn't say a complete sentence for a long time. Listen to my advice. If there is something you cannot control, just leave it with me as your master. Understood, Chen Dao. Hey, okay, in that case, I'll take my leave. In the end, the three elders of the Holy Mountain looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. With the three of them, if they try hard, I'm afraid they will end up like the Ren family, so they can only give up now and think of a solution after returning to the Holy Mountain. The three elders took Li Shenruo Yukong and left, leaving a confused Li Yorong looking at their departing figures. Elder, wait a minute, Yorong is still here. Li Yorong looked at the elder who was leaving and kept waving his arms, saying that he hadn't even gotten in the car yet, so why did he leave? But the three elders did not dare to look back at all. Only Li Shenruo took a deep look at his silly sister and sighed. Until everyone's backs disappeared, Li Yorong stayed on the spot. A layer of mist had already formed in his eyes, and tears were rolling in his eyes. It's over now. Cannot go back. Li Yorong's mouth tightened, and tears began to fall uncontrollably. It stands to reason that with her universal truth realm cultivation, there is no great danger in crossing the Northern Territory and returning to the Holy Mountain in the Eastern Territory. But she doesn't know the road at all. Master, can you take me home? Li Yorong suddenly thought of something and looked at Chen Daoshuan beside him eagerly and asked. Of course, it's no problem. Later you and your senior sister, the one next to me, will take the teleportation array home together. Master, I will go back to the mountain to wait for you first. I will see you later. I have prepared a gift for you. When Chen Daoshuan saw Li Yorong's aggrieved look, he couldn't help but feel tangled in his heart. Why did he feel guilty for kidnapping a little girl? However, now that the master-disciple relationship between the two has been confirmed and the system rewards have been awarded, it is naturally impossible to send Li Yorong back to the Holy Mountain. Don't rush on your own this time, just use the teleportation array to bring your junior sister back. Seeing that the time had reached the last few seconds, Chen Daoshuan looked at Leng Yanren beside him and ordered. After saying that, before Leng Yanren could reply, she turned into dots and disappeared in place. Yes, master. Leng Yanren responded respectfully to the place where her master disappeared. A gift? What gift? Li Yorong looked at Chen Daoshuan, who suddenly disappeared. His eyes lit up when he heard the gift. He forgot for a moment that he was left behind by the Holy Mountain and stopped sobbing. Seeing this, Leng Yanren slapped her forehead with a speechless expression. It seems that my junior sister is really not very smart. That's all. This is the best. It's much better than that Li Shenyao. At that moment, Leng Yanren patted the storage bag on her waist and took out the teleportation array made by her master that could be teleported directly back to Tiandao Palace. Auntie, wait a minute. Grandma, there's me too. Just when Leng Yanren was about to take Li Yorong away directly, the man in the coffin who had not dared to say a word rushed over and shouted. Hearing this familiar voice, Leng Yanren remembered the existence of the person in the coffin. The agreement between you and me is that since you will help me search for heavenly materials and earthly treasures in the secret realm, I will no longer restrict your freedom and give you your freedom. The spiritual energy I left on that jade pendant has dissipated. You can force it out of your body on your own. As for the jade pendant, I will reward you with it. Leng Yanren looked at the eager-looking man in the coffin and said expressionlessly. After saying that, with a thought, he dispersed the spiritual energy he left on the jade pendant, and the jade pendant became ownerless. As for whether the person in the coffin was forced out of the body through the upper mouth or the lower mouth, she didn't want the jade pendant anymore, so she simply gave it to the person in the coffin as a reward. No, 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 aunt, please don't leave in a hurry. I am willing to follow my aunt from now on and help my aunt eliminate all enemies. Before, the structure of the small one has become smaller. Please ask my aunt to keep the small one. The man in the coffin waved his hands repeatedly, then knelt down on one knee, wanting to be loyal to Lang Yanran. As soon as he came out of the secret realm this time, he experienced the powerful forces of the eastern region, which made him understand that he was in the infinite realm. In the future, I am afraid that he will only be able to survive in the northern region. If he goes to other places, he will still be an ant. And if you meet an expert who knows how to become a corpse slave, you will most likely be able to refine him and turn him into a complete corpse slave. After all, the reason why he became conscious in the first place was because he was refined by those who knew the way of corpse puppets among those who besieged Chiyunzi. Maybe those people know that he has left the secret realm and are looking for him. Those people can plan to kill Kai Yunzi in the spirit partitioning realm. Naturally, he will not be an opponent in the infinite realm. He must be a big hug. And the terrifying master behind Lang Yanran shocked the people in the coffin beyond measure. Even the strong men of the spirit partitioning realm were like chickens in the hands of his master. Definitely the most suitable thigh. Well, in that case, you will come back to the mountain with me. If master agrees, I will keep you. If master doesn't want to, forget it. After Lang Yanran thought for a while, she felt that if there was a person in the coffin of the infinite realm who could help with the chores, at least if there was any trouble in the northern territory, she would not need to go down the mountain to solve it herself, which would be good. But all the decision-making power is in the hands of master. Thank you so much, aunt. By the way, I have one more request. Can you take away the corpses of the great powers of the eastern region and refine and absorb them? Mountain of Illusion. Chen Daoshuan, who was sitting in the small pavilion, slowly opened his eyes, picked up the hot Wudao tea, and took a sip. Comfortable. Let me see how many system points I earned this time. Spending 1,000 system points to arrive this time is a huge profit. Not only did he destroy many masters of the Ren family, he even deceived one by chance, and accepted a second disciple. View personal panel. Chen Daoshuan thought, and the system panel appeared in front of him. Host. Chen Daoshuan. Race. Human race. Special physique. Hongmeng innate Dao body. Kung Fu practiced. Chaos heavenly demon technique perfection. Talent. Hongmeng. Realm. Qihai realm first layer heaven. System point. 86300. Disciple. Lang Yanran universal truth real 7th layer heaven. Li Yorong universal truth realm 5th layer heaven. Seeing that his system points, which originally only had a few thousand, had now soared to 86,000, Chen Daoshuan picked up the teacup again and took a sip of the enlightenment tea. It's developed, it's really developed this time. But I remember that if the opponent's force is wiped out, there seems to be additional rewards. Just wait for a while and let Yanran and Yorong go to the eastern region. At that time, if the Ren family members swear to leave the Ren family, they will live. Otherwise, they will be sent down to reunite with the whole family. Chen Daoshuan touched his chin, but he remembered that there was an extra reward when he destroyed Luo Tianzong before. Even the extra reward is not that small. The leader of the Luotian sect is the 5th layer Tien of Nirvana. He only got 500 system points for killing him, but the extra reward was only 1,000. For a family as big as the Ren family, the additional rewards must be even more generous. Tisk. It looks like the future is promising. While Chen Daoshuan was thinking, a formation aperture slowly emerged in front of the Tiandao Palace. After the light dissipated, 3 figures came out. In addition to Lang Yanran and Li Yorong, there was also a person in the coffin who was all dark green. Seeing this, Chen Daoshuan was a little confused. Why did Yanran bring back a mascot? But this mascot doesn't look cute either. The green ones have all turned black, and this strength is only at the infinite realm, Tisk. I am afraid that he is the only person in this world who is the first layer of the Qixi realm and can despise the infinite realm so much. You're tired from this trip too, so come and sit first. Chen Daoxuan was very satisfied with the results of his disciples' participation in the secret realm, and immediately waved to Yanran and said hello with a smile. Lang Yanran had spent some time now and was less restrained in front of her master, so she immediately nodded obediently. Then he didn't forget to take Li Yorong, who was looking around curiously, to the small pavilion and sat across from the master. The person in the coffin, like a young daughter-in-law who had just passed through the door, stood there very reservedly, looking at Chen Daoxuan with a flattering smile on her face. This is a real thigh. If you can hold this thigh, you won't have to worry about the pursuit of those who plotted against Kai Yunzi. You may even hope to reach the highest realm that Kai Yunzi has never been to in the future. Master, this guy was encountered by the disciple in the secret realm. It was originally the body of Kai Yunzi, the owner of the secret realm, but later he gave birth to his own consciousness. In the secret realm, he helped his disciples collect a lot of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. The disciple feels that it would be a lot easier if he could help with the chores in the Northern Territory, so I brought him back and let the master make a decision. Lang Yanran noticed that the master glanced at the man in the coffin with confusion, so he quickly explained. After that, he took out the more than 20 storage bags obtained from the secret realm and placed them on the table in front of the master. Oh, what you said makes sense. In that case, just do what you want. In the future, you will definitely not just stay in this mere Northern Territory. If he can handle everything in the Northern Territory well, you can keep him. Chen Daoxuan originally didn't have much opinion about the man in the coffin, but after seeing that the other party helped Yanran collect more than 20 storage bags of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, he was quite satisfied. No matter what methods Yanran used, it was still the person in the coffin who contributed. Why don't you come and thank Master? When Lang Yanran heard the master's words, she saw the person in the coffin was stunned and suddenly raised her brows and shouted coldly. Hey, thank you, Master, for taking me in, little one. The person in the coffin reacted immediately and quickly bowed his head. Chen Daoxuan frowned a little when he heard the title, Master, and felt that he didn't like it very much. The sect I established is called Tiandao Pavilion. You can call me Pavilion Master from now on. Chen Daoxuan touched his chin and thought for a while before saying. Little Qian, meet the master of the pavilion. And the person in the coffin also hurriedly paid homage again at the right time. At the same time, he was surprised that the other party dared to name his sect after the Way of Heaven. And since he didn't have a name, he simply adopted the original name of Qian. Master, didn't you say you would send Yorong home? And, what about the gift that Master said he prepared for Yorong? At this moment, Li Yorong, who was sitting obediently at the table, suddenly raised his hand timidly and asked a question in a low voice. Ahem, this will be your home from now on. But it's not like I won't let you go back to the Holy Mountain. After a while, I will ask your senior sister to take you to the eastern region. Then you can also go back to the Holy Mountain to have a look. After Chen Daoxuan finished speaking, he found that Li Yorong's clear and stupid eyes were full of doubts, and he obviously didn't understand what he said. Yanran, please explain to your junior sister. Chen Daoxuan finally rubbed his temples and simply handed over this complicated problem to Yanran. After a full hour and a half, Lang Yanran was so thirsty that she drank several glasses of spiritual liquid. Oh, I get it. Yorong is now Master's second disciple and senior sister's second junior sister. Master and senior sister will be Yorong's family in the future. Also, this Tiandao Pavilion will be Yorong's home from now on. Senior sister, is that right? Senior sister, you are smart. Li Yorong said with a serious expression. Hearing this, Lang Yanran almost cried with joy. I finally understand, it's too difficult. Yes, junior sister, you are so smart. Lang Yanran nodded feebly, and then looked at the master who had been lying on the recliner for an hour because he was too bored, and the corners of his mouth twitched. This junior sister was so smart that she had a headache. My senior sister understands me best. As expected, this is my family. Unlike the elders, who tell me every day that I'm not as smart as my sister. I don't have a head, I just have a melon on my neck. Actually, Yorong is quite smart sometimes. When Li Yorong heard his senior sister praising him for being smart, he felt a little elated and said cheerfully. Originally, she didn't have much sense of belonging to the holy mountain. On weekdays, the elders just let her practice continuously and didn't allow her to go down the mountain to play. I could only stay on the mountain, occasionally catching 2 geese and chatting to relieve my boredom, but I was almost bored to death. Well now, not only do we have an additional senior sister, we also have an additional master. From now on, the elders can no longer control her and will only let her continue to practice. For a moment, Li Yorong suddenly felt as if he had been rescued, and he had just understood the true meaning of master from his senior sister's words. Master's name is Chen Daoshuan, and master is a title that represents a being as close as a father. This also made Li Yorong, who had not seen his parents since he was a child, couldn't help but rely more on his master. Have you made it clear to your junior sister? Chen Daoshuan also woke up in time, yawned and asked in a daze. Well, after everything has been explained clearly, junior sister is still quite smart. Leng Yanren responded with a look of despair. She even had the urge to return the goods. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have tested Li Shenruo so much. Now that the master has taken the junior sister into his sect, there is no way she can return. You can pay homage to the master. When Li Yorong saw his master approaching, he stood up gracefully and bowed respectfully. Chen Daoshuan nodded secretly when he saw this. It seems that Yanren's training was very good. Good. Now that you have become my master, you should change the techniques you have practiced before. This Chaos Holy Dragon art is very suitable for your practice. In addition, there is also a bottle of ancient dragon's blood here, which can further develop your physique. Consider these as your initiation gifts from my master. Then Chen Daoshuan sat in his seat and took out a book of exercises that exuded the energy of chaos, as well as a crystal-clear jade bottle. The jade bottle was translucent, and you could even see the pale golden light inside, blood flow. After Li Yorong saw the technique his master took out, his eyes widened. That technique seemed to have an irresistible attraction to her, and she even had the urge to grab it. However, although Yorong was naive, he also knew not to steal things from the master. Besides, the master had said that he would give it to her, so there was no need to grab it. Kai Yun, who had been standing aside without daring to make a sound, took a sharp breath after seeing the technique that Chen Daoshuan took out. May I ask the pavilion master, what level of skill is this? Could it be the best immortal level technique? Although Kai Yun is only in the infinite realm now, his vision is not simple. What Kai Yunzi practiced during his lifetime was the immortal level kung fu. But that is obviously not as good as the Chaos Holy Dragon art in front of me. Immortal level, we in Tiandao Pavilion don't have that kind of rubbish technique. It's not hard enough to use as a table mat. Before Chen Daoshuan could speak, Leng Yanren on the side said disdainfully. To this day, she still remembers the disdain on her master's face when he mentioned the immortal level cultivation technique, and described it as something that could only be used for cooking. Well, Kai Yun was stunned for a moment, feeling that his worldview had collapsed. Nowadays, in this world, there is a gap in immortal level skills. Only those who are passed down by immortals can be qualified to become immortals. It was because of the immortal level kung fu that Kai Yunzi was killed. But how come the immortal level skills that are so enthusiastically sought after by all the great masters have become rubbish here? He said he couldn't understand. Master, is this technique more powerful than the immortal level technique my sister obtained in the secret realm? Li Yorong also asked curiously. How can I explain it clearly to you? Well, probably, if the law manifestation of immortal level kung fu is equivalent to an ant, this kung fu technique given to you by my master is equivalent to the entire mountain of illusion. Chen Dao, Hongmeng level skills are far from being comparable to those of the immortal level skills, and may even be capable of finally attaining enlightenment. Oh, I understand. When I practice the skills given by my master, I can become a mountain. Li Yorong's eyes lit up and he understood immediately. Ha! The 3 people present slapped their foreheads in unison. This guy understood a little bit, but not much. Chen Daoshuan didn't want to correct her idea anymore, so he simply handed over the technique. Li Yorong quickly held it in his hands as if he had found a treasure, and kept muttering in a low voice that Yorong was going to turn into a mountain. Ahem, I also give you this bottle of ancient dragon's true blood. You can drink it when practicing. It can activate your special physique. Just swallow 1/10 of it at a time. If you eat too much, you won't be able to digest it. Chen Daoshuan cleared his throat and simply handed over the ancient dragon's blood. Li Yorong saw this and took it carefully. Holding the jade bottle in his hand, he curiously looked at the light golden dragon's blood flowing inside towards the sun, and couldn't help but lick his lips. Master, can I start practicing now? Li Yorong held the technique expectantly and looked at his master and asked. Chen Daoshuan naturally nodded in agreement. When she saw this, she no longer delayed. Under the gaze of the three people, she gently opened the jade bottle. Yin, as the jade bottle was opened, a shadow of an ancient dragon suddenly rushed out, and slowly dissipated with a dragon's roar. Although it was a phantom, it exuded the dragon clan's pressure as if it were real, making Kai Yun on the side couldn't help but take 3 steps back to stabilize his mind. This is real dragon blood. Kai Yun's eyes widened and he murmured in disbelief. There are indeed dragons in the world, but the dragon clan is so powerful. Even a newly born baby dragon may have the strength of the universal truth realm. As long as it reaches adulthood, it will at least be in the void refining realm. Moreover, the dragon clan was extremely cruel and vindictive. He really couldn't understand what kind of existence the pavilion master was that could produce a bottle of such pure dragon blood. Master said to take a small sip. 1/10. Li Yorong licked her lips. After smelling the cologne's true blood, she felt as if she had seen the most delicious treasure in the world. Gudong took a small sip, and then closed the jade bottle again. Under the gaze of the three people, he crossed his legs and began to practice the exercises given by his master. But as Li Yorong opened the technique, before she could read it, the Chaos Holy Dragon technique turned into a stream of light and penetrated into her sea of consciousness. Li Yorong immediately closed his eyes and started practicing. This scene made Leng Yanren on the side look a little confused. It was also a skill, so how come the junior sister's one also has this function? If it could be directly transmitted into the sea of consciousness, wouldn't it be unnecessary to read it or carry it with you? She didn't even dare to carry the Chaos Heavenly Demon Ju given to her by her master on weekdays, and kept it under the pillow in her room. Master felt that the previous method was a bit inconvenient, so he simply changed it. You can go get the technique, or you can put it directly into the sea of consciousness. Chen Daoshuan saw Yanren's doubts, and then explained softly. In fact, it was after accepting the second disciple this time that the system opened up new functions, but he did not intend to explain too much. I see, Master is indeed attentive. Leng Yanren understood immediately, and immediately hurried back to the palace, took out the technique from her room, and then turned to the first page. As expected, it was just like the Chaos Holy Dragon technique of her junior sister. The Chaos Heavenly Demon technique also turned into a stream of light and penetrated directly into her sea of consciousness. In this way, it is much more convenient. Master, Yanren feels that although junior sister is very talented and kind-hearted, seeing that Li Yorong was immersed in cultivation, it shouldn't be over for a while. After struggling for a long time, Leng Yanren pointed to her head and asked. It doesn't matter, your junior sister has a special physique just like you. As you practice the Chaos Holy Dragon art, you should, probably, maybe become smarter in the future. Chen Daoshuan touched his nose and said very unconfidently. That's it. Leng Yanren saw this and didn't ask any more questions. She just asked her junior sister to become smarter soon, just a little. At this time, Chen Daoshuan also looked at the attribute panel of his second disciple. Second disciple, Li Yorong. Race, human race. Special physique, the body of the holy dragon. The exercises practiced, Yuntian Dian, low grade. Talent, holy level, middle. Realm, universal truth realm, 5th layer. Chen Daoshuan was originally a little confused as to why his second disciple had a special physique, even from the dragon clan. The system gave the answer: qualifications above the holy level may give birth to special physiques. Tisk, could it be Nida of the dragon clan? Chen Daoshuan glanced at Yorong inadvertently and secretly guessed in his heart, could this be the result of his special physique? Just like the charming innate, her every move and smile has a strong attraction to males, and even just standing there can make people excited. Yan, just when Chen Daoshuan was stunned, a dragon roar suddenly sounded, and a golden dragon faintly appeared around Li Yorong, coiling around him. In Chen Daoshuan's eyes, her situation was even more clear. The aura of the whole person began to change continuously, and even some light golden luster appeared faintly in the blood. In just a moment, the heavenly level low-grade technique originally practiced by Yorong was replaced by the Chaos Holy Dragon technique. Lang Yanran was practicing the techniques given by her master. Although she was a little surprised by the changes in her junior sister, she was not surprised. But Kai Yun on the side, his eyes widened at this moment. Close your eyes for a while and feel it with your breath, and then open your eyes to take a look. If you don't see it with your own eyes, but just feel its aura, the aura emitted by Li Yorong at this moment is actually the same as that of the Dragon Clan. Although Qian has never seen a real dragon, he has been lucky enough to see a dragon bone. And what shocked Kai Yun the most was that Li Yorong's level didn't drop at all when he changed his skills. You must know that when replacing a skill, you will have to fall to at least a few small realms, and even worse, it will fall to a large realm. You must first erase the traces of the original skill before you can better practice the new skill. If the traces of the original skills are not erased, if there is a conflict between the two skills, it is very likely that the result will be death. However, the system produced must not have this hidden danger. Yan, after a while, another dragon roar sounded, and Li Yorong slowly opened her eyes. At this time, her pupils actually had a pale golden edge. And the golden dragon phantom was incorporated into her body again. Call, so tired. After Li Yorong opened his eyes, he let out a long breath. Master, how come my realm is still the Universal Truth Realm 5th layer, and I haven't broken through to the Guishu realm? Moreover, why hasn't Yorong turned into a mountain? Yes, Yorong seems to have learned a move called Divine Ability. Although he can't turn into a mountain, he seems to be able to transform. After feeling the changes in her realm, she looked at the master with some doubts and asked. According to what master said, this technique is so powerful, why has her state not changed? Li Yorong kept asking questions, which made Chen Daoxuan's mouth twitch slightly. He didn't know which question to answer first. Auntie, not to mention that you have been practicing for less than an hour, but if you exchange the Universal Truth Realm for cultivation techniques, it is incredible that you can avoid falling into the realm. When Kai Yun saw this, his eyelids jumped wildly, and he couldn't help but smile bitterly and said, Ahem, cultivation does not happen overnight. I will help you two get a pool of special spiritual liquid later, which will be enough for you two to achieve a breakthrough. But although you are still the Universal Truth Realm 5th layer, your strength is at least 10 times or even 100 times that of before. If you don't believe you can use the Holy Dragon transformation, ask your senior sister to help you experiment. Chen Daoxuan coughed lightly and then explained. A prompt sounded in his mind just now. The second disciple of the host, Li Yorong, is an introduction to the practice of Chaos Holy Dragon Art. Reward: Chaos Holy Dragon Art Perfection. The moment the disciple started to learn the skills, he had already received the perfect reward of the Chaos Holy Dragon Art. He knew everything about the Chaos Holy Dragon Art, and was even more familiar with all the divine abilities. Naturally, I also knew what the first divine ability was that Li Yorong, who had just started, got. Master, how do you know about Yorong's first divine ability? Do you also know the Chaos Holy Dragon technique? Li Yorong blinked and asked curiously. After hearing this, Lang Yanran was slightly startled. She had always thought that the master should also be practicing the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique. After all, the master usually used all the techniques in the Heavenly Demon technique. She was also a little confused when she heard Yorong say this. It stands to reason that one person can only practice one technique, but with master's omnipotent ability, it's hard to say. Of course it will. Chen Daoxuan smiled slightly, confirming Li Yorong and Lang Yanran's suspicions. Hiss. Master is indeed omnipotent. Lang Yanran couldn't help but take a breath. It seemed that she had underestimated the master's ability before. It's terrifying to have two fellow practitioners, and the master's exercises are both at the Hongmeng level. Now with the Universal Truth Realm, she can easily kill the existence of the 9th layer heaven in the Ruins realm, and can even easily defeat the 9th layer heaven in the Nirvana realm. Even the 1st layer heaven in the Infinite realm, which spans 3 major realms, Lang Yanran has faith can give it a try. But with the trump card given by her master, she didn't have the chance to try her best. Yanran, accompany junior sister to try her divine ability. Chen Daoxuan said casually, regardless of everyone's surprise. When the two women heard the master's words, they responded respectfully and then came to the side. Sister, my divine ability doesn't seem to be used to hit people. Wait a minute, it's my first time using it, so I'm not very good at it yet. Li Yorong said nervously. Lang Yanren nodded slightly. Holy Dragon Transformation. As Li Yorong shouted, a golden dragon appeared from behind, and then circled and wrapped Li Yorong in it. When the golden dragon slowly disappeared, Li Yorong actually had a pair of dragon scales covering his whole body, like armor. The dragon scales are faintly flashing with a sharp sheen. Although this divine ability cannot be used to attack, the defense has been enhanced countless times. Even the sharp dragon scales can cause considerable damage to the opponent if contacted in close combat. Junior Sister's divine ability is truly extraordinary. In that case, Junior Sister, be careful. Heavenly Demon Finger. Lang Yanren glanced at the master who was watching quietly in the pavilion. Knowing that as long as the master was present, there would be no accidents, she simply used all her strength to use the Heavenly Demon Finger, wanting to see if Yorong could stop it. After all, as a senior sister, if she cannot defeat the junior sister who has just started, she will be embarrassed in front of her master. It's so scary. Senior sister is so scary. Li Yorong was originally ready to respond at all times, but as the senior sister used the heavenly demon to point out, her little feet kept beating, and her mouth kept muttering in fear. But this was so surprising to Lang Yanren. The heavenly demon finger is not only extremely powerful in attack, it even has the effect of restricting the opponent's movement. Even in the Nirvana realm, she would lose her resistance to the heavenly demon finger pointed out with all her strength, and her eyes would be blank for a moment. This time would be enough time for her heavenly demon finger to hit. But Yorong was not affected at all. Broken. Lang Yanren quickly pointed at the place where Yorong's target was the biggest, on the dragon scale armor on the chest. She did not choose to point at the center of Yorong's eyebrows. After all, she is still my junior sister, so it is not appropriate to kill her. Crack. Sure enough, with Lang Yanren's finger falling, the dragon scales on Yorong's chest shattered. Ah, I won't fight anymore. Senior sister, I won't fight anymore. It hurts too much. Li Yorong quickly raised his hands in the air, expressing surrender with an aggrieved look on his face. Seeing this, Lang Yanren stopped taking action, but looked at junior sister's chest in shock. The broken dragon scales slowly fell off, as if they were alive, and a new layer of dragon scale armor grew out. Even the Nirvana realm couldn't stop this blow, but it didn't hurt Yorong at all, it just hurt you. That's right, with this divine ability here, it won't be easy for you to be harmed by the ordinary infinite realm. When Chen Daoxuan saw Yorong surrendering from the side, he stopped letting the two continue competing and nodded slightly in praise. Even if the competition continues, Yanren will definitely win in the end. Although the dragon scales can be regenerated, they consume a lot of spiritual power. As long as Lang Yanren continues to attack a few more times, Yorong's spiritual power will be exhausted. Yanren, take your junior sister to the Lingqi Palace to wait for me. My master will prepare a pool of special spiritual liquid for you to help you break through in your cultivation. Then Chen Daoxuan thought for a moment and said to Lang Yanren. Since the disciple is planning to go to the Eastern Territory next, the strength of the two of them is not very safe now, so it is better to at least let Yanren reach the Guishu realm, which is enough to suppress the infinite realm, so that we can have peace of mind. What is Lingqi Palace? Is there anything delicious in there? Li Yorong was still clutching his chest and crying out for pain, but when he heard his master's words, his eyes suddenly lit up with anticipation on his face. Okay master, Yanren will take the junior sister to wait first. Seeing this, Lang Yanren put one hand on her forehead, took Yorong's hand and walked towards the Tiandao Palace. Arriving in front of the Tiandao Hall, Li Yorong glanced at the plaque with the word, Tiandao, and showed a slightly lost expression. Oops, junior sister doesn't have the jade pendant given by master, so she fell into a trance when she saw this plaque. When Lang Yanren saw this, she immediately understood and planned to turn around and call the master. After all, when she first saw the plaque of Tiandao Palace, she was attracted by the 3000 Great Tao and lost consciousness. Only by wearing the jade pendant given by master can we observe the plaque without being affected. But before Lang Yanran could say anything, Li Yorong murmured, "How impressive. Aren't you attracted by the 3,000 great Tao? It shouldn't be. How can you not be affected if you don't have the jade pendant given by Master?" Lang Yanran was a little confused and looked at Yorong with a confused look on her face and asked, "Ah, jade pendant, it seems there is. When Yorong was practicing just now, I vaguely felt that Master put a necklace on me." Li Yorong stroked his chin thoughtfully and thought for a moment before speaking slowly. After hearing this, Lang Yanran noticed that there seemed to be an extra rope around her junior sister's neck. It should have been given to her by her master when she entered the room to get the exercises. However, I can only see the rope. Where is the jade pendant? Here, is this the jade pendant that senior sister is talking about? Li Yorong gently pulled the rope around his neck, and the jade pendant, still smelling warm and milky, appeared in front of Lang Yanran. "You tricked me." Lang Yanran slapped her forehead, forgetting that her junior sister's capacity was greater than hers. "I can usually put the marrow cleansing pill jade bottle given by my master. With such a large capacity, my junior sister, the jade pendant stays on my neck and I can't even see it when it sinks in. Hateful, that's all." When Lang Yanran saw this, she glanced at Yorong with envy, then pulled her into the main hall and headed to the Lingqi hall. After the two left, Chen Daoxuan came to the Wudao tea tree. "I'll inform you in advance this time. Bring out some branches and leaves." Chen Daoxuan remembered that he had frightened the Wudao tea tree by randomly taking branches and leaves. As Chen Daoxuan's words fell, the Wudao tea tree made a conscious click sound and cut off 2 branches, with a lot of green Wudao tea leaves on them. The host was so kind that he actually took Cha-Cha's words to heart. In the eyes of the Enlightenment tea tree, the master is the supreme being. Even when sleeping, there will sometimes be lingering Taoist charms like 3,000 great Tao. Every time the owner sleeps on its enlightenment wicker chair, it secretly attains enlightenment, which is a great blessing for its growth. Compared with its owner, it seems as small as a grain of dust. But even so, the owner still took its words to heart, which really touched Cha-Cha. When Cha-Cha transforms, I will definitely thank the owner. Enlightenment Chashu secretly made up his mind to work harder to understand his master's Daoyun and strive to transform into another form as soon as possible. Chen Daoxuan casually took the branches of the Enlightenment tea tree and headed towards the Lingqi Palace. He didn't know that his actions would make the Enlightenment tea tree so excited. When he pushed open the Lingqi hall, 2 Taoist figures could be seen pulling at each other in the mist inside. "There is so much spiritual liquid in this pool, senior sister, please let Yorong take a sip. Just take a sip, and I promise not to drink more." After Li Yorong entered the Lingqi Palace, his saliva couldn't stop flowing. Unexpectedly, this so-called Spirit Pond Palace actually contains a whole pool of spiritual liquid. Even in the Holy Mountain, she rarely had the opportunity to drink spiritual liquid to improve her cultivation. Only when she made a breakthrough, the elders would give her a small bottle of spiritual liquid. "This is not for drinking. Hey." Lang Yanran looked helpless and could only hold Yorong to prevent her from drinking the spiritual liquid in the pool. The two of them were at the edge of the pool, tugging and pulling, making Chen Daoxuan, who had just come in, bewildered. Ahem. Chen Daoxuan coughed slightly, and when Lang Yanran saw this, she realized that the master was coming, and she quickly said respectfully to the master. But just at this moment, Li Yorong had already put his head into the spiritual pool. Gudong, gudong, gudong. Ah, so satisfying. This spiritual liquid is purer than the one I drank in the Holy Mountain. It tastes so good, but I was swollen by the spiritual energy after just 3 sips. It's a pity. Li Yorong gulped down 3 gulps, rubbed his lower abdomen with a satisfied look on his face, and looked at his senior sister stupidly, only to find that her senior sister was speechless. Who cares? Anyway, drink it first to feel better. Master, I can't stop. Lang Yanran twitched the corners of her mouth and said to the master. It doesn't matter, it won't hurt if you drink this spiritual liquid. Chen Dao, master, you can't help but. The 2 little hands kept tapping together and said aggrievedly. It's okay, you will get tired of drinking this spiritual liquid in the future. Our Tiandao pavilion is most in need of this stuff. Seeing Yorong's silly and cute look, Chen Daoxuan chuckled and rubbed her hair. Seeing the junior sister's hair being rubbed by her master with a comfortable expression on her face, Lang Yanran silently walked forward and put her head on Chen Daoshuan's hand. Chen Daoshuan burst out laughing when he saw this. His two disciples were really cuter than the other. Immediately, he rubbed Lang Yanran's head again, and out of curiosity, he touched the succubus horn growing on her head. But this action made Lang Yanran shiver, and she blushed from her neck to her ears. So comfortable. Master is touching Yanran's horn, it's so warm. Lang Yanran trembled slightly, breathing heavily. Chen Daoshuan raised his eyebrows slightly when he saw this. What happened to his disciple? That's all, let's prepare the two people's special spiritual liquid first. Chen Dao. Then he waved to Lang Yanran and spread his palms. Lang Yanran immediately understood and knew that Master was going to use the marrow cleansing pill. There was no one else present, so she took out the jade bottle that still had the fragrance of milk from her chest and gently placed it in Master's hand. Sister, you are so smart. Yorong feels like I've learned a new skill. Yorong will also hide things here from now on. Li Yorong watched this scene in his eyes. After a few seconds, his eyes kept switching between himself and his senior sister. Then his eyes lit up, and a new skill was obtained. Compared with Lang Yanran, who is not small, her capacity is much larger. Hearing this, Lang Yanran blushed and felt a little shy. Even Chen Daoshuan twitched the corner of his mouth slightly. His two disciples had a unique way of hiding treasures. While the bottle in his hand was still warm, Chen Daoshuan poured out 2 marrow cleansing pills. This time there was an extra marrow cleansing pill, so it was time to increase the dosage. As for the mythical marrow cleansing pill, it is indeed very precious. He has seen it in the system store, and one bottle costs 10,000 system points. It is equivalent to 1,000 system points. But for the sake of his disciples' cultivation, he didn't care about this. After all, he had made a fortune this time. After settling the two of them properly, it was time for him to break through his own realm. As for the marrow cleansing pill, if it runs out, it won't be a problem for him to exchange it for another bottle for Yanran. After throwing the marrow cleansing pill into the pool, Chen Daoshuan returned it to Yanran. Then he opened his palms to Li Yorong again. Li Yorong was stunned for a moment and glanced at the master blankly. Then, under the shocked gazes of the master and senior sister, he weakly placed his head on the master's palm. Puff! Lang Yanran didn't hold back at all. She broke through her defense and laughed out loud. Realizing that she had lost her composure in front of her master, she could only cover her mouth and tremble. Junior sister, are you giving your few brains to your master? I can't help but laugh. My master asked you to take out the bottle of dragon blood just now. What are you doing? Chen Daoshuan stared blankly at Yorong, who was held in his hands. When the two looked at each other, Yorong's innocent big eyes were still blinking. Oh, Li Yorong immediately knew that he had done something wrong. He smiled and retracted his head. Then, in the eyes of the two of them who were shocked again, he took out the jade bottle containing dragon blood from his enlarged secret space. When was it put in? Lang Yanran and Chen Daoshuan's mouths twitched again. Just now I thought senior sister's method was very good, so I put it in. No, can't it? Hey master, here it is for you. Li Yorong blinked twice and answered truthfully. Ahem, as long as you like it. Chen Daoshuan said no more. After receiving the dragon's blood, he poured about 20% of the entire bottle into the pool. After adding marrow cleansing pill to the spiritual pool, a faint fluorescence appeared. As the dragon's blood poured into it, the mist emitted from the spiritual pool faintly formed into a real dragon, hovering in the pool. Even the spiritual fluid was stained with a hint of gold. The purity of the spiritual liquid originally gathered in the Lingqi Palace had reached its highest level. After adding 3 top-quality materials, this pool of spiritual liquid is comparable to the holy medicine of cultivation. Even a drop of it is enough to fetch a high price in the outside world. Lang Yanran has been with her master for a long time, and now her acceptance of this aspect is very different. Although she is amazed, she is not surprised. As for Li Yorong, he looked eagerly at the even more attractive spiritual liquid in the pool, drooling from the corner of his mouth. Gouda, master, is it possible for senior sister and Yorong to drink from such a large pool? After swallowing his saliva, Li Yorong murmured and asked, his eyes never leaving the Lingqi. Well, it's all for you two anyway. Your senior sister will teach you next, so I'll go out first. Chen Daoshuan knew that it would be very troublesome to explain to Yorong, so he simply threw the problem to Yanren and turned around and left the Lingqi palace. After seeing his master leaving, Li Yorong immediately planned to rush forward and take another sip. This is not for drinking. You can soak in the pool with me and practice in the spiritual pool. Lang Yanren covered her forehead and stopped her. Then she explained for a long time before she explained the true use of this spiritual liquid. Not long after, Lang Yanren took off her clothes and neatly folded them by the pool. Seeing this, Li Yorong followed suit and took off his clothes, folded them up and placed them next to his senior sister's clothes. It's so big. Lang Yanren glanced at it inadvertently, and suddenly felt dizzy. This was the first time that she had been hit so completely. She is already old enough on her own, but compared with Yorong, she is still not as good as you. I don't know whether Master likes junior sister or Yanren. After Lang Yanren murmured, she took Yorong into the spiritual pool, sat cross-legged in it and slowly closed her eyes, planning to start practicing. Gudong. A strange voice sounded, causing Lang Yanren to open her eyes again and look at the junior sister sitting opposite her. He found that her mouth was bulging, with light golden liquid still remaining at the corners of her mouth, and her face was flushed. Gudong. Another sound sounded, and Li Yorong swallowed the mouthful of spiritual liquid in his mouth. It smells so good, Yorong, I can't help it. Feeling the senior sister's gaze, Li Yorong said with a slight blush. However, after swallowing 2 mouthfuls of the spiritual liquid, she did not dare to drink any more and hurriedly started working on her exercises to digest it. Can it be that the white rabbit and the brain really can't coexist? I don't know if junior sister will become smarter as she practices. Lang Yanren had a look of helplessness on her face, but she quickly entered a state of cultivation and began to continuously run her skills and absorb the special spiritual fluid in the pool. Chen Daoshuan stretched out outside the palace, but he was not in a hurry to sleep today. Now that he has tens of thousands of system points in hand, it is time to break through to the next level. In addition, he has not had time to redeem the treasures of heaven and earth that Yanren brought back. When I came to the pavilion, I looked at the more than 20 storage bags placed on the table. Exploring them one by one, Chen Daoshuan nodded with satisfaction, but after seeing the 2 storage bags filled with spiritual fluid, he frowned slightly. What's the use of this thing? Tisk, it takes a lot of effort to deal with this kind of waste. It would be a waste to throw it away directly. Chen Daoshuan frowned and muttered secretly. Kai Yun, who was not far away and was always ready to obey Hu's orders, couldn't help but frown when he heard Chen Daoshuan's words. These heavenly materials and earthly treasures were all installed by him one by one, and he knew exactly what the heavenly materials and earthly treasures were. So many natural and earthly treasures turned into waste products in the words of the pavilion master. Look at the 2 storage bags held by the pavilion master, they seem to contain spiritual liquid. That's good stuff. If you can let him use it, you can get a big improvement. Qian, use the water in this storage bag to water the tea trees. If you need it, you can keep some for yourself. Chen Daoshuan finally thought of a way that was not a waste and threw the 2 storage bags to Kai Yun, who was aside. Oh, okay, pavilion master. But the tea tree can't absorb so much spiritual liquid. It might damage the tea tree. Kai Yun was slightly stunned. After taking the storage bag, he was first surprised and then a little confused. The spiritual liquid is not used for cultivation, but used to water trees. Pavilion master, this is too wasteful. Besides, with so much spiritual liquid, even if it is used to pour heaven-level medicinal materials, it may be easy to damage it and it will not be absorbed at all for a while. Just water it. Chen Daoshuan was too lazy to explain, and just waved his hand slightly to indicate that he would do as he was told. Kai Yun naturally did not dare to say anything more. Following the instructions of the pavilion master, he came to the enlightenment tea tree. After getting within 10 meters of the enlightenment tea tree, Kai Yun froze. These Dao Yun. What kind of tea tree is this, and how come it exudes bursts of Taoist charm? If you practice here, not only can you avoid going crazy, but you can even practice at least several times faster. This is a tea tree planted by an immortal. Kai Yun was stunned, but saw that the Wu Dao tea tree actually moved. A branch suddenly came to him and tapped the storage bag, as if he was a little impatient. The master asked this guy to give me the spiritual fluid. Why is this guy so dazed? Enlightenment Chashu was very dissatisfied with Qian's slow movements. Seeing this, Kai Yun immediately understood, and quickly took out the buckets of spiritual liquid from a storage bag and placed them on the ground. He picked up a bucket and poured it towards the roots of the tree. 1 bucket, 2 buckets, until 5 buckets of spiritual liquid were poured out, and apart from emitting waves of fluctuations, the Enlightenment tea tree showed no sign of being unable to absorb it at all. Even later, when I realized that the tea tree seemed to feel that his movements were too slow, it actually stretched out a few branches, placed them in the bucket, and began to actively absorb the spiritual liquid. In just a moment, 20 barrels of spiritual liquid in the first storage bag were absorbed. Seeing that Kai Yun was still in a daze, Enlightenment tea tree poked the other storage bag in his hand with a branch again. Oh, here it is for you. Kai Yun wiped the sweat from his forehead. He was really shocked by the Enlightenment tea tree. He quickly took out another 20 buckets of spiritual liquid and placed them in front of him. After a while, 20 buckets of spiritual liquid were completely absorbed by the branches of the Enlightenment tea tree again. Seeing that the spiritual liquid was gone, it retracted the branches with satisfaction and swayed slightly in the direction of Chen Daoshuan. The owner is so kind to Cha-Cha. I like the owner the most. Chashu was happy after realizing the truth, but Qian beside him was dumbfounded. This, not even a drop was left for me. Kai Yun looked at the 40 empty stone buckets, his mouth open, and he didn't know what to say. Just now, he thought that the tea tree might not be able to absorb more than a few barrels of spiritual liquid. But now, not a drop is left. What kind of tea tree is it, that it can absorb so much spiritual liquid? Hey, it's better now, it's no longer useful. Kai Yun was a little helpless. He had known that he would have left some in advance, even a bucket would be fine. In the entire Red Cloud secret realm, only these spiritual liquids were collected. How precious is it? Even now that the Qian secret realm has collapsed, it will not be easy to get the spiritual liquid in the future. Little did they know that at this time, Leng Yanren and Li Yorong were soaking in a whole pool of spiritual liquid, which was even more mellow and made with many top-grade materials added. By the way, we took back the corpses of the powerful men of the Ren family before. We haven't had time to absorb them yet, so we should take this time to absorb them. Kai Yun suddenly slapped his forehead and remembered something very important. He took out a storage bag and patted it gently, and a neat row of corpses of strong men from the Ren family appeared on the ground. Kai Yun first searched their bodies and took off the stored magic weapons and the 5 elements formation flag from their bodies. Pavilion Master, this belongs to everyone in the Ren family. I didn't have time to give it to the Pavilion Master before. Arriving at the small pavilion, Kai Yun respectfully presented the storage magic weapon and the 5 elements formation flag, but he did not dare to put these things into his own pocket. Oh, if you didn't tell me, I would have forgotten about it. I haven't had time to pick up the stuff that Ren's family exploded. Chen Dao. After receiving the storage magic weapon, Chen Daoshuan didn't even look at it. He just said silently in his heart, recycle all the things on this table and exchange them for system points. Ding, a total of 32,600 system points were obtained from this recycling. Hiss, this feeling of suddenly getting rich. Before I even had time to use the system points in my hand, I got more than 30,000 more points. Chen Daoshuan took a breath, and with the system points recovered this time, he now had a total of 118,900 system points. Not to mention breaking through to the Sky Control realm, even the Universal Truth realm can probably be won. Sure enough, if you want to earn system points, you still have to rely on killing people and freeing them. Acting chivalrously and doing justice for heaven, yes, that's right. Pavilion Master, I want to refine the corpses of the Ren family, is that okay? On the side, Kai Yun was not too surprised when he saw a table of stored magic weapons suddenly disappearing. He thought it was the master of the pavilion who had put them away. He simply asked the question he was most concerned about directly. If he can absorb the corpses of everyone in the Ren family, especially the ancestor of the Ren family in the spirit partitioning realm, he can at least improve 2 or 3 small realms. It's important to die. It's somewhat inhumane to do this. And if you practice like this, you will easily get entangled in karma, which is not good, not good. In this way, you can learn this great compassion mantra and liberate them first. In this way, you can gain some merit. Then you can refine them to offset their karma. Chen Dao. After that, he casually spent 10 system points from the system to redeem a copy of the Great Compassion Mantra's Transcendence chapter, and threw it to Kai Yun. Nowadays, he has a lot of money, and he doesn't feel anything at all when he spends 10 system points. After all, there are still many orders to be completed in the future that need to be exterminated. When the time comes, Kai Yun can use the Great Compassion Curse to transcend and refine a dragon. Not bad, not bad. Okay, Pavilion Master. Kai Yun was stunned. He originally thought that the Pavilion Master said that the deceased was the most important, so he did not intend to continue refining. Although he was a little regretful, he did not dare to go against the Pavilion Master's wishes. But who would have thought that the Pavilion Master would actually ask him to be saved first and then refined? How terrifying. Even a corpse cultivator would find him cruel. Salvation does not require a very high level. With the strength of the Red Cloud Boundless Realm, it doesn't take a moment to memorize the salvation chapter of the Great Compassion Mantra. Then he came to the many corpses of the Ren family, put his hands together very professionally, and began to recite scriptures. If he wasn't full of corpse energy, he would be much more professional than Abbot Konkai. After a while, the salvation was complete. I'm going to start. Kai Yun looked at the corpses of many strong men as if he were looking at beautiful women. But before he could start refining, a branch suddenly struck and penetrated Ancestor Ren's body. Within a few moments, Ancestor Ren's body began to decay rapidly, and finally turned into dust and dispersed. Ga, you absorb the spiritual liquid, but you also want to snatch the corpse. Hey, don't, Master Chashu, leave that to me. Please, leave one for me. Kai Yun was stunned, realizing that the Enlightenment Tea Tree had absorbed the corpses of the four elders into nutrients one by one, and even absorbed the insights they had learned throughout their lives. Finally, Enlightenment Chashu saw Kai Yun pleading hard, and then left the body of Ren Err. Upon seeing this, Kai Yun quickly began to refine and absorb. However, the Enlightenment Tea Tree was not something for nothing. He gently tapped Kai Yun on his back and passed on to him the cultivation insights he had just absorbed. In the small pavilion on the side, Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but chuckle when he saw this. Then there was no further delay. System, it takes 10,000 system points to break through to the Sky Control Realm, right? Yes, does the host spend 10,000 system points to make a breakthrough? If anything, it's only 10,000 points, and people would think that I, Chen Daoshuan, can't do it. Give me a breakthrough to the Air Control Realm. The corners of Chen Daoshuan's mouth rose slightly. With a huge sum of nearly 120,000 system points, he finally got tough. Ding, 10,000 system points will be deducted in exchange for 10,000 years of cultivation. As the system prompted, Chen Daoshuan felt as if all the cells in his body were boiling. Every inch of skin, every drop of blood, and every cell is burning. And his realm began to rise rapidly. Chi-Hai Realm 2nd Layer Heaven. Chi-Hai Realm 3rd Layer Heaven. Chi-Hai Realm 4th Layer Heaven. Chi-Si Realm 9th Layer Heaven. There was no pause at all, just a moment, from the original 1st layer of Chi-Si Realm to the 9th layer directly. For a moment, hundreds of miles above Zuwu Mountain, the color of the sky and the earth changed. It was obviously noon when the sun was shining brightly, but suddenly the entire sky suddenly turned dark. Crack. With a cracking sound that only Chen Daoshuan could hear, the bottleneck was broken. Royal Sky Realm 1st Layer Heaven. Boom, boom, boom. There was a riot of spiritual energy within the Tiandao Palace, and countless spiritual energy roared, gathering crazily towards Chen Daoshuan. For a time, the entire sky of Zuwu Mountain was shrouded in shadow for hundreds of miles, and the ferocious beasts in Zuwu Mountain were lying on the ground trembling. And in the Tiandao Temple on the mountainside, within a radius of 10 miles, the spiritual energy seemed to be rioting. At first, countless spiritual energy vortexes were formed, pouring spiritual energy crazily in the direction of Chen Daoshuan. Within the scope of Tiandao Palace, the spiritual energy seemed to be endless. As more and more spiritual energy emerged, it began to slowly condense into drops of spiritual liquid. After a short time, the spiritual liquid gathered together, like a small river, flowing towards Chen Daoshuan. Boom! Accompanied by another burst of noise, the small river of spiritual liquid became wider and wider, like a big river, and Chen Daoshuan was completely submerged in it. I'm such a fool. What happened while I was practicing? Is there a flood? That's not right, these are all spiritual fluids. Pavilion Master, are you okay? Kai Yun, who was in the process of refining, was also awakened by the huge movement. Seeing the scene in front of him, Kai Yun rubbed his eyes, wondering if he had gone crazy in his cultivation. This river-like spiritual liquid is constantly gathering towards the small pavilion. If compared with the spiritual liquid he has seen in the secret realm for more than 5,000 years, it is like a drop of water in the ocean. Let's not mention for the moment how the Pavilion Master absorbed so much spiritual fluid without being stretched to the point of exploding to death. The key is, where does this amount of spiritual liquid come from? Even if the entire northern territory is hollowed out, it is absolutely impossible to reach 1/10 of the amount of these spiritual liquids. After a long time, Chen Daoshuan's qi was finally absorbed, and the spiritual liquid no longer emerged, being completely absorbed by Chen Daoshuan. It's so refreshing to have a breakthrough. Chen Daoshuan slowly opened his eyes, and his pupils seemed to contain thousands of stars that flickered for a few times and then gradually disappeared. Before he could check his breakthrough, thunder and lightning suddenly broke out in the sky above Zuwu Mountain, and hundreds of miles of dark clouds covered it, making it look extremely depressing. Heavenly calamity. Pavilion Master, is transcending tribulation ascending? Kai Yun's eyes almost fell out of his head. Looking at Jia Yun above his head, his whole body was trembling. Ascension is not scary, the problem is, he is not far away from the Pavilion Master. This calamity cloud has now locked his aura. When the time comes, Qian cannot guarantee whether the Pavilion Master will be able to withstand the transcending tribulation and ascend to the throne. But he, this little loser, will definitely be chopped into ashes by the calamity cloud soon. It's worth it to see the scene of ascending before you die. Pavilion Master, just focus on transcending tribulation and don't worry about me. Kai Yun let out a long breath and unexpectedly shouted to Chen Daoshuan. What nonsense are you talking about? If you don't continue to refine Ren Er's corpse, why are you joining in the fun with me? Chen Daoshuan raised his eyebrows slightly and glanced at Qian, and said very calmly, without taking the disaster into his eyes at all. However, Kai Yun's ability to say these words made him take a high look. Based on this matter alone, Chen Daoshuan was willing to give him full authority to manage the Northern Territory in the future. My Lord Pavilion, that's a heavenly tribulation, a heavenly tribulation. No matter how confident you are, you can still use your magic weapon to resist it. Don't take it lightly. Kai Yun's eyelids were twitching wildly. Since he was already destined to die, he was not so scared anymore. So he kept urging the Pavilion Master to use magic weapons to resist the natural disaster. Tisk, Chen Daoshuan, I'm standing here. Do you think I dare to chop down this calamity? Chen Daoshuan brushed aside the calamity clouds in the sky and laughed with contempt. Within the scope of this heavenly Dao Palace, it doesn't matter if it's a catastrophe. However, he was a little confused. Others only started transcending tribulation when they were about to ascend to the immortal realm. How come it was his turn to do transcending tribulation just to break through to the sky control realm? There is no justice. Others are ascending, but he is at best flying in the sky control realm, so why does he need transcending tribulation? The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Chen Daoshuan raised his eyebrows and casually took out the most valuable treasure of merit and virtue, the Hongmeng ruler. Seeing that he finally sacrificed his magic weapon, Kai Yun breathed a long sigh of relief. It seemed that the Pavilion Master still took his words to heart. The bullshit heavenly calamity has influenced me to bask in the sun. Show me the sun. In the face of Kai Yun's shocked eyes, Chen Daoshuan casually threw out 2 streaks of black and yellow energy toward the sky. No, it is not accurate to say that there are 2 paths. The black and yellow energy is as thick as 2 giant pillars holding up the sky, exuding the black and yellow energy, and there is even a faint power of merit on it. It went straight towards the calamity cloud brewing in the sky. It's over, it's over. This will inevitably cause a catastrophic backlash, and it will explode with even greater power. Kai Yun was dumbfounded. He couldn't figure out why the pavilion master would be so provocative to Tianjia. But as those two streaks of black and yellow energy blasted into the calamity cloud. Boom, rumble. After two loud noises, the calamity clouds that had gathered for hundreds of miles were blown up and became faintly unstable. Tisk, the distance is too far, has it been weakened? Chen Daoxuan didn't care when he saw this, and waved the Hongmeng ruler in the sky a few times. Boom, boom, tribulation cloud, death, hehehehe. Ha 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 ha. Master Chashu, I understand, this is all just for fun, right? That's it, that's it. This is when Master Chashu taught me Dao Yun, he pulled me into the illusion. Master Chashu, I have seen through it, please let me wake up. Kai Yun stared blankly at the calamity clouds in the sky that dispersed after being bombarded by a bomb. After being stunned for a moment, he started to laugh uncontrollably. The enlightenment tea tree on the side was originally shocked by the terror of its master. But following Kai Yun's words, it woke up. He gently stretched out a branch and touched Kai Yun's forehead. Qian thought Master Chashu was going to help him get rid of the illusion. As a result, 3 words appeared in my mind. Big, silly, fork. Ah, what do you mean? Qian was confused. What did Lord Chashu mean? Stop laughing, you are not in an illusion, everything just now is real. It's just Jayan, you're so surprised. It's time to practice, it's time to sleep, I'm tired. When Chen Daoxuan saw that the heavenly tribulation had dispersed, he felt a little more comfortable. Why would a heavenly tribulation strike him down when he broke through to the sky control realm? He didn't want to lose face. After casually speaking, he stretched and lay down on the wicker chair again. Ignoring Kai Yunzi, who was completely stupid beside him, he slowly closed his eyes and said nothing. I wanted to break through to the universal truth realm directly, but who knew that breaking through would be so tiring, and I would have to fight a catastrophe, so I had to take a nap first to recuperate my spirit. Many monks in the northern territory looked vaguely towards the direction of Xuanyuan Mountain. Just now I always felt that there was some movement coming from the Mountain of Voidness. Could it be that a great monster has been born? Or maybe there is a magical weapon appearing in the world, causing strange phenomena in the heaven and earth. That's all, it's better not to go to that dangerous place. There are not many powerful people in the Northern Territory. Even when they saw the cloud of tribulation just above Zuwu Mountain, no one could recognize that it was the tribulation of transcending tribulation. After all, in the entire Northern Territory, the strongest people are now in the Nirvana realm, and transcending tribulation is an existence that they are far out of reach. Deep in the mountain of illusion, several figures exuding a terrifying aura gathered together, each with a look of horror on their faces. Although all of them are in human form, they all have the roots of ferocious beasts, which also means that their cultivation has reached above the spirit partitioning realm, and they have the ability to transform. If I guessed correctly, it should have been the legendary catastrophe just now, right? Why did the heavenly tribulation appear in our Mount Xuanyuan? Could it be that it has something to do with the mysterious hall that suddenly appeared? Should we go check it out? One of them said in shock. No, Ao Zhu said that the palace scares them all, so we must never mess with it. If it is really a disaster caused by that temple, we will not be able to go. When Ao Zhu comes out of confinement, report this matter to Ao Zhu and then make plans. By the way, remember to tell the ferocious beasts under your command a few more times that you must not go near the temple. It may not be a good thing to attract the attention of the beings there. The other few people immediately rejected the man's words, and then decided to wait until Ao Zhu, the strongest person in Mount Shu, finished his retreat before making any plans. Heavenly tribulation, that is heavenly tribulation. It's over, remember not to provoke the beings in the temple. As for the front of Tiandao Palace at this time, Chen Daoxuan was lying on the wicker chair of Wu Dao. He looked like he was sleeping, but in fact, he was just sleeping. But now, in the eyes of Enlightenment Tea Tree, he is completely different. If before when he was sleeping, the looming Dao rhythm of 3000 great Dao appeared, now it is simply exuding the Dao rhythm of 3000 great Dao all the time. As he breathed and breathed, Dao Yun expanded and contracted, as if he was pursuing and imitating Chen Daoxuan's movements. The master is too scary. I am using the Master's ginseng to enlighten the 3000 Great Tao, but the 3000 Great Tao is enlightening the Master. With this clear Taoist rhyme, Cha-Cha is about to have an epiphany again. The enlightenment tea tree was surrounded by a burst of fluorescent light, and after a moment of observation, it entered the state of enlightenment again. Hee. Yeah, hee. Heavenly tribulation. What is heavenly tribulation? Ha ha. Isn't it just a catastrophe? The Pavilion Master has said that you should practice and practice. Qian, why are you in such an unstable state of mind? You need to calm down, calm down. Yes, that's it, take a deep breath, meditate, just calm down for a few times. I'm a god. Hey, it's a catastrophe. Just swipe a few feet. Hey, it's a catastrophe. It's going to explode. Qian beside him was almost going crazy. He even suspected that he might have died and turned into ashes under the catastrophe. Now he only had an obsession left, imagining that he was still alive. But whether he was slapping his face or running his exercises, everything was as usual, which proved that he was still truly alive in the world. That scene just now is true. Heavenly calamity, the Pavilion Master casually smashed it to pieces. Namo Amitabha. In the end, Kai Yun squatted alone in a corner and began to recite the salvation chapter of the Great Compassion Mantra, hoping to use it to calm his mind. Not to mention, it really works. After reciting the Great Compassion Mantra, Kai Yun felt that he was indeed much better. Although he couldn't understand how the Pavilion Master casually destroyed the heavenly tribulation, and what state the Pavilion Master was in, he finally calmed down. Kai Yun glanced at the sleeping Pavilion Master from afar, and his eyelids twitched wildly. No wonder the Pavilion Master doesn't practice. The noise of the Pavilion Master practicing just now was too great. If I practice every day, I will suck up all the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the Northern Territory. In the blink of an eye, a day passed. Chen Daoshuan yawned comfortably, and went to the small pavilion to pour himself a cup of enlightenment tea. Inadvertently glanced at the enlightenment tea tree. Why did Chashu have an epiphany again? You can all have an epiphany, but I can't. It's too abominable. Chen Daoshuan was slightly stunned and muttered with some jealousy. Fortunately, the enlightenment tea tree was in the state of enlightenment at this time and did not wake up, otherwise it would have been even more confusing. Even the 3000 Great Tao seemed to be enlightening its master. What else does the master intend to achieve enlightenment? Let me see what changes have occurred in the sky control realm. Chen Dao. As a result, it was discovered that there didn't seem to be anything new, it was just that the billions of stars in his sea of qi seemed to be more spiritual, more real, and had many more details. That's it. Chen Daoshuan was a little confused. It seemed that apart from his strength simply increasing hundreds of times, there were no other special changes. This sky control realm is not very good either. Who is it, Kai Yun? Did you experience any special changes when you broke through to the sky control realm? Chen Daoshuan refused to give up and asked Kai Yun, who had been peeking at him from time to time since he woke up. Back to the Pavilion Master. When Kai Yun was born with consciousness, he was already in the realm of nirvana and has never experienced the realm of control over the sky. When Kai Yun heard the Pavilion Master calling him, he was startled and responded quickly. Hiss, the beginning is the realm of nirvana. I really envy you. Chen Daoshuan took a breath and expressed how envious he was. Zhe, the master is really good at joking. Kai Yun showed an expression that looked uglier than crying. How could the Pavilion Master, a fairy-like being, envy him? Ahem, then when others break through to the sky control realm, are there any special changes? Chen Daoshuan no longer struggled with this and simply continued to ask. After thinking deeply, Kai Yun nodded heavily, thinking that the Pavilion Master was too far away from the sky control realm and had forgotten the changes in the sky control realm before he asked him. Oh, what change? After hearing this, Chen Daoshuan's eyes suddenly lit up. After the air control realm, you can fly and use your spiritual power to control the air. Kai Yun looked at Chen Daoshuan, who was looking forward to it with firm and serious eyes, and said. Ga. Chapter 91. Chen Daoshuan never expected that the change he was looking forward to would actually be flying. Wouldn't he be able to fly before he reached the sky control realm? That's all, asking is in vain. Chen Daoshuan waved his hand and stopped embarrassing Qian. After all, he seemed different from everyone else. At least, when others break through the Qi-Si realm, they will definitely not have the stars and universe in his chi. Qian on the side said nothing after seeing this. Although his mood calmed down a lot after a day, he still felt like a dream. He didn't even dare to continue practicing at this time, for fear of being unstable and going crazy. Chen Daoxuan, on the other hand, drank the enlightenment tea and looked up at the big sun in the sky. He couldn't help but secretly thought that the weather is good today. How about breaking through the universal truth realm by the way? After all, after breaking through to the sky control realm, he still had more than 109,000 system points in his hand, which was enough to break through to the next big realm. Ding, the host's great disciple Lang Yanren has broken through the universal truth realm 8th layer heaven, and will be rewarded with 200 system points. Ding, the second disciple of the host, Li Yorong, has broken through the universal truth realm 6th layer heaven, and will be rewarded with 200 system points. A prompt sounded suddenly in his mind, and Chen Daoxuan was slightly startled. Originally, when the disciple broke through the universal truth realm, the system rewarded him with 100 years of cultivation and 100 system points, but now they are all replaced by system points, but there is not much difference. Ding, the host's disciple Lang Yanren has broken through the universal truth realm 9th layer heaven, and is rewarded with 200 system points. Ding, the second disciple of the host, Li Yorong, breaks through the universal truth realm 7th layer heaven, and is rewarded with 200 system points. After a while, 2 more reminders sounded. Chen Daoxuan wanted to see the disciples' cultivation progress, but he also felt that there was something wrong. That's all. As a master, I am also afraid that my disciples' cultivation will go astray. To be on the safe side, let's take a look. This is all for the disciples' cultivation, without any selfish motives. Chen Dao. As soon as I thought about it, the scene in Lingqi Palace clearly appeared in my mind. I saw that 2/3 of the specially prepared spiritual liquid in the pool had now been consumed, and the remaining spiritual liquid was only enough to barely cover the lower abdomens of the 2 people who were practicing cross-legged practice. And the remaining spiritual liquid was also being consumed rapidly, being absorbed by the 2 of them crazily. Lang Yanren, in particular, is now on the verge of breaking through to the Great Realm. As long as the bottleneck is broken, she can reach the Return to Ruins realm. Soon, the remaining spiritual liquid in the pool was consumed. Lang Yanren frowned and concentrated on running the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique. There was a faint evil spirit emerging from all over her body, and the purple pattern formed by Innate's charming bones on her lower abdomen flashed faintly. Li Yorong slowly opened his eyes, feeling his universal truth realm 7th layer heavenly cultivation. He planned to talk to his senior sister in surprise, but found that his senior sister was making a breakthrough, so he quickly covered his mouth with his hands, not daring to disturb her. It's just the last bit, just a little bit closer. Lang Yanren was a little anxious. Now that the special spiritual liquid in the spiritual pool had been exhausted, she was still just a little short of breaking through the bottleneck of the ruins realm. Open your mouth. Just when Lang Yanren thought that her breakthrough would probably end in failure, a voice sounded in her mind. Master. Lang Yanren was slightly startled, but she didn't think too much and quickly opened her mouth according to the master's words. A pill appeared out of thin air in front of his red lips and was slowly put into Lang Yanren's mouth. As soon as the elixir was taken into the mouth, it turned into juice and flowed into the abdomen, and a majestic spiritual energy suddenly emerged in the sea of qi. Without thinking too much, Lang Yanren controlled this majestic sea of spiritual energy to rush towards the bottleneck. Break. After a sweet drink, the bottleneck was shattered. Lang Yanren's whole aura has also undergone earth-shaking changes, and she has suddenly broken through to the first layer of Return to Ruins realm. As the realm breaks through, its succubus characteristics become more obvious. Ha, thank you, Master. Lang Yanren slowly opened her eyes and said thank you, but she did not find her master. Only her junior sister in the hall was covering her mouth and looking at her. Although she was a junior sister, Lang Yanren still felt a little uncomfortable being looked at. Senior sister, you are so powerful, you have already returned to the ruins realm. But Yorong is also very powerful, and now he is in the universal truth realm 7th layer heaven. When Li Yorong saw her senior sister open her eyes, she let out a long sigh of relief. She had even held her breath in order not to disturb her senior sister when she made a breakthrough just now. Well, Yorong is really amazing. Let's go and see the master. Lang Yanran did not show a cold face to her junior sister like outsiders, but smiled and said. After hearing this, Li Yorong picked up the clothes he had left by the pool and planned to put them on. But suddenly I found that the senior sister walked to a clothes rack, where there were many beautiful clothes. Senior sister, are these clothes suitable for you to wear? Li Yorong's eyes suddenly lit up with little stars. He threw his clothes away and got closer. The huge object in front of her was shaking, almost making Lang Yanran faint. This, master prepared it according to my size. I wonder if junior sister can wear it. Lang Yanran looked at her junior sister and said with some uncertainty. Please, senior sister, give Yorong a set, okay. Seeing his senior sister's hesitation, Li Yorong immediately prayed to her senior sister with an aggrieved look on his face. Hey, that's all. You can choose a suit you like, but if you can't wear it, you can't rely on me. Also, tell master later and master will also prepare clothes for you. When Lang Yanran saw her junior sister's cute appearance, she couldn't bear to refuse and agreed with a slap on her forehead. Yeah, senior sister is the best. ... At this time, outside the Tiandao Palace, there was a small pavilion. Chen Daoxuan dismissed the scene in Lingqi Palace from his mind. How could it be so big, bigger than I thought? Does this have anything to do with the special physique? That's all, I don't think about it anymore. Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but feel a little hot when he thought of the scene just now. Too over the top. Hey, enlightenment tea, don't drink too much of this stuff, it will cause you to get too angry. But at the last moment, he spent 100 system points to exchange for a heaven-level elixir in the mall, and he helped Yanran break through to the ruins realm. Otherwise, this breakthrough might really end in failure. It seems that it was not easy for the pavilion master to defeat the heavenly tribulation yesterday. It should be that he suffered a lot of internal injuries. Qian on the side saw that the pavilion master's expression was wrong. He was stunned for a moment, and soon figured out the cause and effect. It seems that the heavenly tribulation is not so easy to break up, and even the pavilion master suffered a backlash. Not long after, two figures walked out of the temple. Chen Daoxuan looked up and couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Lang Yanran wore a white dress and white silk on her two slender legs. Although only a small amount of skin was exposed, it still could not hide her innate charm. Even after breaking through to the ruins realm, her succubus characteristics became more obvious, and the effect of innate was also greatly enhanced. As for Li Yorong, after choosing for a long time, he chose a white Taoist robe. But even the loose Taoist robe could not cover her plumpness at all. A perfect angel's face and a devil's body. What stunned Chen Daoxuan was that Li Yorong wore black stockings under his white robe. Hiss, a Taoist robe paired with black silk stockings is a real punishment. Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but secretly lamented that his two disciples were so annoying. Fortunately, within the scope of this heavenly Tao palace, even if he had evil fire born, it would dissipate quickly and not have much impact. He even doubted that if he went down the mountain in person, he would not be able to resist the temptation of Yanran innate. The two of them came to the small pavilion respectfully and greeted their master in advance. Master, fortunately, my disciple has lived up to his command and has broken through to the return to ruins realm. After receiving the greeting, Lang Yanran poured a cup of enlightenment tea for her master, and then excitedly told the news about her breakthrough, hoping to be praised by her master. Master, this disciple has also broken through 2 realms, and is now in the universal truth realm 7th layer heaven. And after practicing the skills given by the master, the disciple feels that he can now kill a dragon with 1 punch. When Li Yorong saw this, he excitedly talked about his improvement in cultivation. Yes, you two have improved a lot this time. Chen Daoxuan naturally knew the progress of the two's breakthrough, but he still rubbed their heads very happily, which made them feel satisfied. Now that you have broken through the return to ruins realm, you should have a handy weapon. This magic weapon is called the God-killing spear. It suits you very well, so I gave it to you. Chen Daoxuan turned his hand and took out a long spear that was bright black and exuded a strong evil aura, and handed it to Lang Yanran. Isn't this a little too expensive? Lang Yanran looked at the God-killing spear, and the thick evil aura emitted from it. If she hadn't practiced the heavenly demon chaos art, she might not have been able to touch it at all. Even if an ordinary person comes into contact with the God-killing spear, the evil spirit on it will erode into the body, causing extreme pain. At least, it must be a heaven-level or even immortal-level magic weapon. You don't have to worry about this with me as a teacher, just take it if it's given to you. Upon seeing this, Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but chuckle and said. Seeing this, Lang Yanren no longer refused, bowed in front of Chen Daoxuan, and respectfully held the God-killing spear with both hands. As soon as she got it, Lang Yanren felt that this God-killing spear was tailor-made for her, and its strength would be improved at least several times or even dozens of times. With her current strength in the Return to Ruins realm, she can easily kill anyone in the Nirvana realm. Even when she encounters a stronger immeasurable realm, Lang Yanren is confident enough to fight. But now, after getting the God-killing spear, she feels that she can even crush the strong men of the infinite realm, and she can still suppress them easily even after crossing two great realms. This is definitely not a heavenly magic weapon. This is a divine weapon. Disciple, thank you Master. Lang Yanren bowed deeply to her master, feeling moved beyond words. This magic weapon must have been specially prepared for her by the master. Where can she find such a good master? Without her master, she would have died long ago, but now she has become a terrifying genius who can transcend two realms of suppression. All this depends not on anything else, but on Master. Master, what's your capacity? Has Master prepared a magic weapon for Yorong? Li Yorong, who was standing aside, saw his master rewarding his senior sister with a peerless magic weapon, and asked expectantly. Ahem, your cultivation is still shallow now, so you should focus on cultivating to break through to the Ruins realm. When you break through to the Guishu realm, I will give you a magic weapon as well. Chen Daoxuan cleared his throat and calmed down the excited Yorong. This magic weapon was not prepared by him in advance, but was a reward given by the system when Yanren broke through to the Ruins realm. Ding, the eldest disciple Lang Yanren has broken through the Return to Ruins realm, and the reward is, God-killing spear imitation 2000 system points. Chen Daoxuan was shocked when he saw the prompt. What kind of magic weapon is the God-killing spear? That is the innate treasure, which is considered to be the top magic weapon in the prehistoric world, and it is the weapon of demon ancestor Rahu. However, even if this God-killing gun is an imitation, it still retains the characteristics of the God-killing gun, killing people without causality. The level is far from being comparable to the immortal level magic weapons in this world. Well, okay then. Then Master must prepare magic weapons for Yorong. Yorong will soon break through to the Return to Ruins realm. After hearing his master's words, Li Yorong secretly made up his mind to practice hard and break through to the Return to Ruins realm as soon as possible. As expected of the Pavilion Master, the magic weapons he took out are probably of the immortal level. That's right. After all, the Pavilion Master is a being who can even detonate heavenly catastrophes. His strength is comparable to that of an immortal. Only by using an immortal-level magic weapon can he be worthy of the status of Pavilion Master. Kai Yunzi on the side muttered secretly in fear. But these words were heard by Lang Yanren and Li Yorong, and both of them were a little confused. What kind of disaster? What nonsense are you talking about? Lang Yanren frowned slightly. Kai Yun had brought him up the mountain by himself, but he couldn't let his nonsense make the master unhappy. My Aunt Di, I'm not talking nonsense. It's just that my two aunts are practicing in retreat. I don't know. You don't know, if the master of the pavilion practices casually, the spiritual energy will gather into a river of spiritual liquid. It's so crazy. But that's all. After the pavilion master practiced, he even caused a heavenly tribulation. As a child, I thought that the pavilion master was going to ascend through transcending tribulation. But guess what? The master of the pavilion just took the ruler and waved his hand, and the disaster exploded. Kai Yun finally found someone to whom he could confide his shock. He danced and told them what he saw and heard with an exaggerated expression. Especially when it came to the explosion of the heavenly tribulation, Kai Yun repeatedly gestured with his hands, trying his best to let the two of them understand how outrageous the pavilion master was. Well, cultivation causes spiritual energy to gather into rivers of spiritual fluid, and also causes a heavenly catastrophe which explodes. Master, is what he said true? Even though she knew how powerful the master was, Lang Yanren was also shocked. She slowly turned her head to look at the master and asked. The river of spiritual fluid must be delicious. The calamity doesn't sound delicious. As for Li Yorong, he only heard about the spiritual liquid that he cared about, and Tianji didn't hear a word of it. It's just a catastrophe, what's real or fake about it? Why, Yanran, are you curious about the heavenly tribulation? But if you observe the heavenly tribulation, it might also be helpful to your cultivation and state of mind. Well, let's do it this way, you two wait first. Chen Daoxuan raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard his disciple's words, and then couldn't help but think that he still had enough system points. After the two disciples have practiced, his system points have now reached more than 110,000 points. If he uses 100,000 of them to break through the universal truth realm, he will still have 10,000 left, which is enough to deal with possible accidents. In addition, after practicing as a disciple this time, Yanran has already broken through to the Guishu realm. As a master, he only has the sky control realm now, so he has been stretched too far, which hurts his self-esteem. Leng Yanran was a little confused when she heard the master's words. She just wanted to confirm the authenticity of Kai Yun's words. Why did the master seem to plan to demonstrate it directly on the spot? Although she was indeed curious about heavenly tribulation, she couldn't let master take the risk to attract heavenly tribulation to demonstrate it to her. Leng Yanran immediately planned to stop him. Great. Master, please give Yorong a few sips of the spiritual fluid later, please. But Li Yorong's eyes lit up and he jumped up excitedly. As for Kai Yun on the side, he was completely stunned. What's going on? He originally found someone to express his shock to, but the master of the pavilion planned to trigger a catastrophe and let the two aunts watch the Sky Rogue cultivator to refine their mental state. Heavenly tribulation, is it really so worthless? Whenever Kai Yun felt that his judgment of the pavilion master's strength was outrageous enough, the pavilion master would always break his perception again. System, exchange 100,000 system points into 100,000 years of cultivation. Chen Daoxuan ignored everyone's reaction and thought silently in his heart. Originally, he was planning to find a time to break through, but now he could use this opportunity to temper the state of mind of his two disciples, so why not? After all, there is no need for system points. He is just a system point. Only by using them can he achieve his own cultivation. Ding, consume 100,000 system points and successfully redeem 100,000 years of cultivation. As the system prompt sounded, Chen Daoxuan's entire aura was clearly visible, and the thick coercion he exuded made the space around him distort. When Leng Yanran and others saw this, they were so frightened that they backed away. However, they were surprised to find that the momentum did not seem to affect them, but was controlled by the master within half a foot in front of them. Coming, Chen Daoxuan narrowed his eyes slightly and looked above his head. The originally clear sky was suddenly covered with dark clouds, covering a larger area than the last time of 100 miles. This time, the clouds covered an area of thousands of miles. A thick cloud of calamity enveloped Zuwu Mountain for thousands of miles, and all living beings felt a palpitation in their hearts. The more powerful a creature is, the more panicked it becomes. Looking at the calamity cloud, it can't help but want to run for its life. Even those ferocious beasts that had not developed spiritual intelligence were crawling under the calamity cloud, trembling and afraid to move. And the people in front of the Tiandao Palace, as the center of the robbery cloud, felt this pressure more clearly. Leng Yanran frowned, feeling inexplicably panicked in her heart, as if she was facing life and death. At the same time, he couldn't help but look at the master with some worry in his heart. In such a catastrophe, the master was just for them to observe and practice their character, so there would be no danger. Sister, you are afraid. Yorong doesn't want to drink the spiritual liquid anymore. Please ask master to stop. Li Yorong was so scared that she hugged her senior sister's arm tightly and even dared to secretly glance at the calamity clouds in the sky. This is definitely the heavenly tribulation of transcending tribulation. Under this catastrophe, all living things will turn into ashes. If we can survive it, we will surely become immortals and ascend to the upper world. Kai Yun trembled, and knelt down on the ground, bowing in the direction of the pavilion master. At this time, the pavilion master was already a complete immortal in his heart. There is no other possibility. Only immortals can trigger such a catastrophe. Why did the master cause a natural disaster again? Cha-Cha is so scared. Even the Enlightenment tea tree woke up with a start, feeling the catastrophe that was more terrifying than before, and trembling a little. This catastrophe should be no less than the one during the ascension. It will be helpful for you two to watch each other, and it will help your Xinsheng. You will even have some experience when you two become immortals through transcending tribulation in the future. Chen Daoxuan had his hands behind his back from beginning to end. The breeze blew by, and he even felt a little comfortable. And his cultivation level also began to improve rapidly. Within a few miles of the Tiandao Palace, the spiritual energy was so intense that for a time, in addition to the liquid spiritual liquid, there was also concentrated crystalline spiritual power appearing, all rushing towards Chen Daoxuan. With the absorption of a large amount of spiritual energy, Chen Daoxuan's realm also changed. Royal Sky Realm 2nd Layer Heaven. Yukong Realm 3rd Layer Heaven. Royal Sky Realm 4th Layer Heaven. 9th Layer Heaven. When his cultivation reached the 9th layer of the sky control realm, the calamity clouds in the sky were already beginning to move. Amidst the lightning and thunder, there was a Taoist shadow looming in the clouds. Chen Daoxuan raised his eyebrows, feeling a little strange. Could it be that he was dazzled? Boom, the spiritual energy violently rioted again, and Chen Daoxuan's realm completely broke through the bottleneck of the sky control realm, reaching universal truth. From the beginning to the end, everyone on the side only dared to watch tremblingly, and even Li Yorong did not dare to take a sip of the spiritual liquid. Is this the universal truth realm? It seems like I have an extra special ability. Chen Daoxuan's eyes lit up. When he broke through the sky control realm, his strength increased hundreds of times, but no special abilities appeared. Now this breakthrough has finally brought something new. And as Chen Daoxuan's aura rose to the universal truth realm, the tribulation cloud had been completely brewed, and the thunder tribulation was even more hidden and ready to go. This time, he did not intend to smash the robbery cloud directly, but looked at the robbery cloud thoughtfully, trying to find the faintly appearing figure just now. Rumble. The first thunder tribulation struck directly at Chen Daoxuan. The entire false mountain, which originally seemed dark and oppressive, was illuminated by this thunder tribulation. All the creatures trembled violently. The people in front of the Tiandao Palace staggered even more. They all opened their eyes wide and looked at the thunder tribulation that destroyed the heaven and earth in horror. The sky thunder, which was as thick as a bucket, hit Chen Daoxuan's body without any obstruction, shrouding him, and the tiny lightning bolts flowed on the ground like thunder snakes and dissipated. Master. Seeing that their master was hit by the thunder tribulation without dodging, Leng Yanran and Li Yorong screamed in fright. Hiss. Comfortable. Chen Daoxuan was shrouded in thunder tribulation, and everyone's pupils shrank, anxious. Leng Yanran and Li Yorong even screamed in surprise. It's broken, why doesn't the pavilion master hide? Even Kai Yun shouted in fright. Only Wu Daocha, although trembling at the side, was full of absolute trust in his master. The master in its eyes is the existence that 3,000 great Dao are pursuing. How could it be hurt by the catastrophe? The reason why it trembles is just because it is afraid of natural disasters, not because it is worried that its master will have an accident. Hiss. Comfortable. This tingling feeling is so great. Sure enough, before the thunder tribulation dissipated, Chen Daoxuan's refreshing voice came out. This thunder tribulation hit his body, and not only did he not feel any pain, but it also had a tingling sensation that made him almost shiver. If I had known that Tianji was so comfortable, I shouldn't have blown it up last time. Chen Daoxuan thought of the calamity he had destroyed yesterday, and for a moment he couldn't help but regret it. When the light dissipated, Chen Daoxuan's figure was revealed, with one hand on his back and a look of enjoyment on his face. Not to mention the injuries all over his body, even his hair didn't change at all. Even his hairstyle was not damaged by the thunder tribulation. Tisk, that's not right. A few flashes of lightning flashed on the hair from time to time. This. Leng Yanran was stunned, Li Yorong was stunned, and Kai Yun's jaw dropped to the ground. This seems to be different from the transcending tribulation they understand. Don't be distracted and observe the heavenly tribulation carefully. It will be useful to you. Besides, don't be so surprised. Everyone's body constitution is different. It's normal that a natural disaster won't hurt me. Seeing his disciple stunned, Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but remind him. Physique is different. Everyone was numb, as if it was not Chen Daoxuan who was electrocuted by the catastrophe just now, but them. However, Leng Yanren and Li Yorong were reminded by their master and no longer worried, but focused on staring at the calamity. Observing the powerful transcending tribulation is such a huge opportunity that even this world has never had it in 10,000 years. As if feeling Chen Daoxuan's contempt, the tribulation cloud rumbled again and dropped the second thunder tribulation. This second thunder tribulation is already thicker than a water tank. Even if you are a true transcending tribulation stage monk, I am afraid you will have to suffer from hatred. After all, ordinary tribulations only start from the thickness of your thumb. The thunder of heaven is no different from other ones. It is the most powerful and powerful divine thunder in the world. How terrifying is its power! Boom! The thunder fell and once again enveloped Chen Daoxuan. Well, come again, let others see it and think that I, Chen Daoxuan, cannot afford the tribulation. After a period of relief, the numbness quickly dissipated. Chen Daoxuan suddenly became anxious, pointing at Jia Yun and urging him. Seeing this scene, the three people on the side had their eyelids twitching wildly. As expected of Master. Odd, you shouldn't exist in this world, just turn into dust. But what shocked everyone even more was that a voice that could not be identified as male or female came from the calamity cloud. Even Chen Daoxuan was a little confused when he heard this voice. Can heavenly tribulation still speak? In the shocked eyes of everyone, the calamity cloud suddenly began to shrink and roll, and all the thunder in it slowly condensed together and turned into a figure. The figure was completely composed of blue-purple sky thunder, with electric light flowing all over its body, and holding a giant hammer. Has heavenly tribulation transformed? Chen Daoxuan was a little surprised when he saw this. He didn't expect that this catastrophe could have such a miraculous change. However, he is not worried. Within the scope of this heavenly Dao palace, no matter what kind of disaster he takes, even if the heavenly Dao from this world comes, he has to kowtow before he can leave. Die. The figure condensed by the heavenly tribulation, an emotionless voice sounded, raised his hand and struck down with a hammer, and turned into thunder tribulation all over the sky, blasting towards the people in front of the Tiandao Palace. This attack not only included Chen Daoxuan, but also Leng Yanren and others. It was originally formed by the rules of the heavenly tribulation. In its eyes, the Temple of Heaven and Chen Daoxuan, even Leng Yanren, Li Shenruo, people related to Chen Daoxuan, and the Enlightenment Tea Tree should not be living beings in this world. They are all anomalies that need to be eliminated. Feeling the thunder tribulation that filled the sky, everyone except Chen Daoxuan almost vomited blood from the terrifying pressure. Fortunately, Chen Daoxuan waved his hand. Disperse. He murmured softly in his mouth, and the thunder tribulation in the sky turned into nothingness. Then Chen Daoxuan looked at the figure again, wanting to see what other abilities he had. Odd, you are very strong, but in the face of the rules of heaven, you will eventually turn into ashes. The thunderous figure was slightly stunned when he saw this, but then he spoke again and sentenced him to death. Under the shocked gaze of everyone, it rushed directly towards Chen Daoxuan. It was originally transformed into the rules of the heavenly tribulation. If it smashes itself down, any living beings can only be annihilated. As a rule, even if it dissipates between heaven and earth, it will condense again when the next disaster strikes. Hey, it was a bit difficult to handle at first, but I didn't expect you to come to my door. Chen Daoxuan was not surprised but happy when he saw this, his eyes brightened a lot. Originally, after seeing the thunder tribulation transform, he made up his mind to find a way to bring it into the Tiandao Palace and subdue it. Unexpectedly, the other party actually rushed over. Isn't this inappropriate for giving someone a head? The thunderous figure hit Chen Daoxuan very quickly, and the powerful pressure directly caused Leng Yanren and others to lose consciousness. Seeing this, Chen Daoxuan waved his hand and moved everyone to the Tiandao Palace. As for the Enlightenment Tea Tree, it was shaking a little more intensely. He looked nervously at the thunderous figure that appeared. Die, odd number. When the thunderous figure was less than 10 feet away from Chen Daoxuan, he murmured in his mouth. Bundle. Chen Daoxuan opened his mouth gently and spit out one word. In an instant, endless chains of rules appeared out of thin air, tightly entangling the transformed figure of Tianji, making it unable to move at all. This is odd number. Who are you? The lightning phantom started to panic the moment the rule chain appeared, but it couldn't escape at all, even if it wanted to escape. Just in time to test the extra abilities of this universal truth realm on you. Chen Daoxuan did not answer his words, but with a thought in his mind, he floated in the air, stood in front of the thunder and lightning shadow, and looked at it quietly. His universal truth realm has an additional talent. Universal truth. It can give spiritual bodies and even rules, wisdom and life. Chen Daoxuan pointed out and touched the forehead of the immobile shadow. In my name, Chen Daoxuan, I entrust you with your spiritual wisdom and life. As Chen Daoxuan's words fell, the phantom stopped struggling, and the godless pupils slowly became shiny. Although the body was still made of thunder, it had a little more spirituality. Then things started to change. As Chen Daoxuan's voice fell, a golden talisman condensed out of thin air in front of his fingers. There are two kinds of great Dao meaning faintly flashing between the mysterious lines on the talisman. Two kinds of great Dao outline the word, Emperor, on the talisman. After the talisman completely turned into a physical entity, it slowly floated towards the phantom of that day's calamity, landed on its forehead, and slowly disappeared. The thunder and lightning shadow began to slowly change. Chen Daoxuan looked at it carefully, wanting to see what the heavenly tribulation rules would look like after its transformation. After all, it was his first time to use the universal truth realm to realize the divine ability, and he was also very curious. Within a moment, the thunder and lightning shadow turned into a leopard, and then began to gradually solidify and give birth to flesh and blood. Hey, wait a minute, why are you getting me a leopard? I want someone who can talk. How can I communicate deeply when I become a leopard? I don't understand leopard language, I only understand leopard prints. Chen Daoxuan was stunned for a moment when he saw this, and then raised his eyebrows. Taking advantage of the fact that it was not completely solidified, he quickly conveyed his thoughts to the process of sealing. Following his words, the sealing process also began to change. The shape of the leopard, which was already very clear, began to change into a human form. Finally, a small human figure curled up, as if sleeping soundly. Chen Daoxuan could faintly see through the electric light that he seemed to be breathing, with his chest rising and falling. As the electric light flashed, the imperial seal reached its final stage, beginning to condense the flesh and blood body and give birth to spiritual wisdom. Chen Daoxuan touched his chin, looking a little confused. I always feel like something is not quite right. Doesn't he want to be alone? Why are these ears still shaped like leopard ears and have a tail? It should be the tail, otherwise it would be too long. Under the electric light, Chen Daoxuan could only see some unclear outlines. After another moment, the electric light dissipated, revealing a weak and small figure, curled up, as if it was just sleeping quietly. Beast-eared girl, little lowly. After seeing the whole picture clearly, Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but exclaimed. It seems like I accidentally created something incredible. Originally, he just wanted a human form, but by chance, he actually transformed the calamity into a little Lolita of a beast-eared girl. That long thing was just as he guessed, it was a tail, not something strange. Tisk. These ears and tail also have leopard print little Lolita, these two things are obviously good, but why are they so weird when put together? Chen Daoxuan looked at the leopard-eared and leopard-tailed little Lolita in front of him and murmured in a low voice. And his voice seemed to wake him up. The little Loli raised her soft and tender hands, rubbed her eyes, opened her mouth wide and yawned with misty eyes. Only then did Chen Daoxuan notice that this little Loli had something in her mouth that looked very aggressive. Little tiger tooth. Oh no, leopard tooth. The little Loli's pupils are also different from those of ordinary people, but more like the pupils of an animal. Then he sniffed gently with his little nose and looked at Chen Daoxuan in front of him. Ah, hello. Being stared at by the little Lolita, Chen Daoxuan didn't know what to say for a moment, so he could only smile and wave his hand to say hello. Well, the little Loli let out a cry, jumped directly into Chen Daoxuan's arms, and kept rubbing Chen Daoxuan with the animal ears on her head. Ah, wait a minute. Put on your clothes first. Chen Daoxuan was also caught off guard by his sudden move, but at this time, the little Loli had just transformed and was completely naked. I spent a few system points casually and exchanged a few sets of clothes in the mall for the size of the little Lolita. After taking out one of the sets and covering the little Loli's body, Chen Daoshuan carried her to the small pavilion. But when he saw that the little Loli sniffed the clothes and bit them, but she couldn't put them on at all, Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but have a headache. He could only throw away the clothes she bit and then took out a new one and put it on for her himself. Fortunately, everyone, including Kai Yun, had fainted just now and was temporarily sent to the heavenly Dao palace by him. Only he, little Loli, and Enlightenment Tea Tree were present. "What's your name?" Chen Daoshuan looked at the little Loli who was looking at her clothes and asked softly. "Meow, name, no name, meow, master, help me with a name." The little Loli blinked her eyes, frowned and thought for a while. She didn't know her name at all. She only knew that the person in front of her had given her life and intelligence and was her master. After answering the master's words, the little Loli looked at the master expectantly. She also wanted a name. But for some reason, she couldn't help but want to nuzzle her master, and the little Loli dared to think and do it. Fortunately, Chen Daoshuan did not stop him, but concentrated on thinking of a name for him. The little Loli rubbed her little head against her master's hand with a satisfied look on her face, and her little tail kept wagging happily. "I'm pretty good at naming names. What do you think of the name Xiaobao?" When Chen Daoshuan heard what little Loli said, he became more serious, and then asked very confidently. When she heard the name spoken by her master, the little Loli's movements couldn't help but stiffen. Although she had just gained intelligence, she could feel that the name seemed very hasty. "Oh, don't you like it? What about Xiao Bai, Xiao He, Xiao Leopard, Xiao Hua and Xiao Wei?" Chen Daoshuan saw the little Lolita's thoughts and couldn't help but think seriously for a moment again before naming a series of names. Meow. Wow. After hearing the owner's series of simple names, the little Loli's stiff expression could no longer hold up, and she actually threw her head back and started crying. Hey, why are you crying? Don't cry. Hey, is the name given by this pavilion master really that bad? Don't cry, don't cry. When your senior sister wakes up later, I will ask your senior sister to help you think about it. Please give me some advice. Hey, it turns out that even within the invincible range of the Temple of Heaven, I also have shortcomings. Chen Daoshuan was also panicked when he saw this, and quickly rubbed the little Loli's head to calm her down. He felt a little aggrieved. Is the name he thought of really unpleasant? What a fitting name. Although the little Loli stopped crying, she still sobbed from time to time. She was really frightened by the name given by her master. Although she has the ears and tail of a leopard, she is not a leopard. How could she have a name like that of a puppy or kitten? The two of them just stared at each other and waited quietly. Not long after, Leng Yanren and Li Yorong ran out of the hall with panic on their faces, followed by Kai Yun respectfully. Master, you weren't injured, right? Disciple Wu Yu actually fainted at that moment. As soon as Leng Yanren and others appeared, they hurried to the small pavilion and said, Master, nervously. However, looking at the master's appearance, he didn't seem to be injured, so the two felt relieved. As for Kai Yun, he had witnessed the master of the pavilion casually destroying the calamity, and he was extremely confident in the master of the pavilion, but he didn't have much worry. As a teacher, nothing will happen. Seeing his disciples' concern, Chen Daoshuan said with a chuckle. Meow. Wu. The little Loli felt the strange aura of the three people, and suddenly jumped in front of her master, her ears perked up, and her little fangs were exposed at the three people. Even the tail stopped wagging, and even became a little hairy. Strangers are not allowed to approach the owner. Moreover, the little Loli can also feel an evil spirit from Leng Yanren, which shows that she is not a good person. Master, what is this? Only then did Leng Yanren and others notice the existence of little Loli, and ask the master with a puzzled look. Don't be nervous, we are all on our own. You can call these two senior sisters. Ahem, this is the phantom in the heavenly tribulation. You can also understand it as the heavenly tribulation rules. I just enlightened and formed them out of curiosity. Upon seeing this, Chen Daoshuan first waved to the little Loli, and then explained. When the little Loli heard what her master said, she turned her head arrogantly, came back to her master and rubbed her hand. At the same time, he casually looked at the two senior sisters. It seemed that their strength was not that good. However, if the other party can give her a name that satisfies her, she would be willing to live in peace with these two senior sisters to save the master a headache. Hiss. Heaven, heavenly calamity. Master, are you saying that this little girl is the incarnation of heavenly tribulation? Hearing the master's words, everyone took a breath and stared at the little loli with wide eyes. Although she had some offensive power, but not much, just looking at her appearance, there was no way to tell that she was that terrifying celestial being. Tribulation takes shape. However, no one questioned Chen Daoxuan's words. Now everyone is still elusive about his strength. He is a mysterious existence. Feeling the shocked looks in the three people's eyes, the little loli couldn't help but raise her head proudly, and her tail kept wagging left and right, as if she was enjoying this feeling. So cute. Master, can I give you a hug? Li Yorong stared at the little loli for a long time, with a look of fondness on his face, and looked at the master with pleading eyes and asked. That's fine. If you keep in touch with each other, you'll get to know each other in the future. When Chen Daoxuan saw Yorong's cute appearance, he naturally couldn't bear to refuse. After asking the little loli with his eyes, he agreed. Master, I want to hug you too. Lang Yanran rolled her eyes and asked immediately, but there was a hint of shyness in her eyes. Chen Daoxuan didn't think much and still nodded in agreement. Immediately, the two girls started moving together, and Li Yorong jumped forward with joy, wanting to hug the little Lolita and ravage her. But Lang Yanran jumped directly into the master's arms. Hey, your hug is for the teacher. Chen Daoxuan quickly caught Lang Yanran and took a breath of cold air. Why is this disciple so different? But Lang Yanran didn't care about this. She put her head on the master's chest, greedily took a few deep breaths of the master's unique fragrance, and her ears suddenly turned red with embarrassment. Meow. The little Lolita on the side immediately became anxious when she saw this. She was originally held in Li Yorong's arms and felt quite comfortable and enjoyed the soft squeeze. But that guy actually took the opportunity to get close to the owner and snatched his arms away. In a hurry, the little loli's tail became hairy. The power of thunder emitted from his body, and just this trace of thunder power made Li Yorong tremble. The little loli turned into a bolt of lightning again and threw herself into her master's arms, trying to fight for her position. And after Lang Yanran came into contact with the little Lolita, her whole body was shocked. She could even smell a hint of meat. Only Chen Daoxuan felt the tingling sensation and enjoyed it quite a bit. Why? Calm down. Chen Daoxuan suddenly realized something was wrong and quickly lifted the little loli up with one hand. Master, I'm familiar with it. Senior sister seems to be familiar with it. On the side, Li Yorong regained his composure, looked at the senior sister who was even worse, and said in a daze. Seeing this, Chen Daoxuan waved his hand and restored the two of them to their original state. After this incident, the little Lolita and the two girls became quite familiar with each other, especially Lang Yanran. They really almost became familiar with each other. After the farce, the three of them stood obediently in front of Chen Daoxuan, with the little loli standing in the middle, and Li Yorong wanting to rub her head from time to time, especially her leopard ears that he couldn't put down, they were so fluffy and so soft. Ahem, I will give you two a task. Upon seeing this, Chen Daoxuan looked at his two disciples, cleared his throat and said. Master, just ask. When Lang Yanran heard her master's words, her face instantly became serious. Even Li Yorong looked serious. After she went up the mountain, the master taught her the exercises and gave her spiritual liquid to drink, soaked in the spiritual liquid hot spring. Now that the master had something to give her, she naturally obliged. Take it easy. I just want to give her a name. You two might as well make your own suggestions. Chen Daoxuan saw the two people paying attention and explained. Oh, that's it, disciple, think about it. Both of them were stunned for a moment, and then breathed a long sigh of relief. They didn't expect it to be such a simple task. Since it is the heavenly tribulation rule enlightened by Master, the main body should be heavenly thunder. In my opinion, it's better to just scream like thunder. Li Yorong pondered for a moment and was the first to offer his opinion. Hiss, it's not right, Jing Lei should forget it. Chen Daoxuan twitched the corner of his mouth and directly rejected the second disciple's proposal. Thunder. The sky is falling and the earth is falling. The purple gold hammer of heavenly cultivation. Junior sister's suggestion is indeed inappropriate. Jing Lei is too masculine and does not suit her. In my opinion, it is better to change the thunder and lightning into accompanying clouds and rain. How about calling me Yu Yue? After Lang Yanran thought hard for a while, she came up with a more suitable name based on the little loli's origin, appearance, and body shape. Meow, Master, I like Yu Yue. After hearing this name, the little loli's eyes suddenly lit up. Compared with the name the previous owner said, this is a huge difference. Oh, since the little guy likes it, let's name it after him. From now on, you will be called Yu Yue. You haven't thanked me yet, senior sister. Chen Daoxuan nodded repeatedly when he heard this name, feeling that it fit the little loli very well. However, he still retained his opinion in his heart. He felt that the Xiaohe, Xiaobai, Xiaobao, and Xiaolei he had chosen were quite good, at most a little worse than Yu Yue. Meow, Yue, thank you, senior sister. After Yu Yue got her name, everyone spent another 2 or 3 days briefly getting along on the mountain. During this period, Lang Yanran and Li Yorong digested a breakthrough increase in strength. Kai Yun was finally satisfied and completely absorbed and refined the body of the family head. As for Chen Daoxuan, he still drank a pot of enlightenment tea when he woke up. After drinking the tea, he watched the disciples practice and gave some pointers. Go back to sleep after you're done. However, Chen Daoxuan was sleeping at this time, but Yu Yue was lying on him almost all the time. But Lang Yanran was so envious that she really wanted to lie on top of her master every day. However, although Yu Yue looks harmless to humans and animals, her strength is far beyond what others can match. According to Master, Yu Yue can even burst out with the power of the immortal realm world, and despite her small appearance, in fact, if we count from birth, Yu Yue is the same age as Fang Tiandi. On weekdays, the arc of electricity that flashed across Yu Yue's body inadvertently would kill her if she were touched by someone other than Chen Daoxuan. Only Chen Daoxuan can enjoy this happiness, feeling the arc of electricity emitted by Yu Yue from time to time, and sleeping a little more soundly and numbly. On this day, Chen Daoxuan called everyone, including Kai Yun, to the pavilion. Qian, Chen Daoxuan took a sip of tea and shouted casually. Young man, if you need anything, just ask the pavilion master. When Kai Yun heard the pavilion master calling him, he quickly knelt down on one knee, raised his ears respectfully, and waited for instructions with a serious face. It has been some time since he joined Tiandao Pavilion, but he was usually refining the body of Ren family leader on the mountain. Now that the refining has ended, it is time to do something for Tiandao Pavilion. Nowadays, the sects and families in the Northern Territory are in disarray. This time, the master of this pavilion orders you to go down and rectify the Northern Territory. By the way, Yanran's previous location was the Leng family in the Moro Kingdom. You can develop from there. Gather all the forces in the Northern Territory. In the future, I, Tiandao Pavilion, will protect them from the oppression of vicious beasts, evil cultivators, and even people from outside the territory. But they need to hand over 20% of their income every year. Are you confident that it can be done? After Chen Daoxuan pondered for a moment, he ordered Kai Yun in an orderly manner. Since all the treasures of heaven, materials and earth can be exchanged for system points, although the Northern Territory is a marginal land, you can still collect a lot of treasures of heaven, materials and earth in a year. At least hundreds of thousands or even millions of system points can be obtained every year. He did not intend to suppress them with force. Although 20% was not a small number for these sects, it must be within the tolerance range. And his Tiandao Pavilion will also provide shelter, and even Qian, a strong man in the infinite realm, will sit in the Northern Territory on weekdays. Don't worry, Pavilion Master. If Qian can't handle what the Pavilion Master ordered, please come and see him. Kai Yun responded confidently. It's just the Northern Territory, can't it be done? Not to mention that he, a strong man in the infinite realm, came in person. Even the corpse puppets he left in the ruins realm and even the annihilation realm in Qian Valley were enough to sweep across the Northern Territory. At that time, if any force is not wise and does not give face to the Pavilion Master and Tiandao Pavilion, Kai Yun will not be soft-hearted. After all, as a corpse cultivator, he doesn't mind annihilating several sects to absorb flesh and blood to enhance his own strength, so as to better serve Tiandao Pavilion. Well, if that's the case, then go down the mountain. Chen Daoxuan nodded slightly when he saw this. Kai Yun stood up respectfully and stepped back, heading straight to the North Territory, remembering the words of the Pavilion Master in his heart. It turns out that my aunt is from the Northern Territory, the Leng family of the Moro Kingdom, so let's go and settle here first. Kai Yun's figure continued to flash before he hurried down the mountain. Yanran, Yorong, you two have improved a lot this time, especially Yanran has now reached the Guishu realm, and your strength should be enough to suppress the infinite realm. Before, outside the secret realm, there were forces from the Eastern Territory that wanted to do evil to the Ren family. It is up to you to resolve this holiday. It just so happens that during this trip to the Eastern region, you two can go to the Holy Mountain, so you can rest assured. Chen Daoshuan touched his chin and looked at his two slim disciples and said softly. Yes, Master. The disciples will personally resolve this holiday for the Ren family. When Leng Yanran heard the master's words, a cold light flashed in her eyes. Even if her master doesn't give orders, she will definitely take action against the Ren family this time when she goes to the Eastern region. After all, not only for herself, but because the Ren family dared to attack the Tiandao Pavilion disciples, Leng Yanran decided to exterminate them. The Tiandao Pavilion established by the master was not an existence that ants like them could trample on at will. Since you have provoked her Tiandao Pavilion, you must prepare for the ant nest to be poured with boiling water, the egg yolks to be shaken away, and the passing dogs to be slapped. Okay, Yorong has become so strong. I will definitely scare the elders when I go back. Even my sister will definitely be scared by Yorong. I'm so excited just thinking about it. Li Yorong's eyes even brightened up. Ever since she was little, she has always been suppressed by her elder sister. Oh no, there is one thing her elder sister can't compare to her. This time when I go back, I have to show the elders of the Holy Mountain and my sister that she, Li Yorong, is very strong. Bring the jade pendants you two have, I will add a space formation to them for you. If we encounter a treasure from heaven or earth, or a benevolent person gives us a treasure from Tiandao Pavilion, we won't have to separate so many storage bags to pack it. While Chen Daoshuan was thinking for a moment, he suddenly remembered that Yanran had brought back more than 20 storage bags, which was really inconvenient, so he just wanted to help them improve the jade pendant. Thank you, Master. Leng Yanran took off her jade pendant from her neck and handed it over. Now, here you go. Li Yorong pulled the necklace around his neck, revealing the jade pendant hidden inside, and handed it to his master without any care. Leng Yanran on the side couldn't help but twitching her lips when she saw this. Another day of envy for my junior sister. This capacity is really enviable. Chen Daoshuan took the disciples' jade pendants in his hands, and there was still a faint milky fragrance and the same temperature as skin on them. On Leng Yanran's jade pendant is the word, Leng. Li Yorong's name is. There are also Taoist rhymes that uniquely belong to Chen Daoshuan circulated on it from time to time. Both characters are formed from Taoist rhymes. It even has the miraculous effect of calming the mind and concentration when worn on the body, which can avoid the entry of inner demons into the body. With a slight movement of his fingers, Chen Daoshuan carved a space formation inside the jade pendant. He also personally gave 2 jade pendants to each of them. Okay, you two pack up, take some suitable clothes, and go down the mountain. Chen Daoshuan chuckled and nodded with satisfaction. Leng Yanran and Li Yorong penetrated the jade pendants with their spiritual thoughts, wanting to see how much space the master gave them. But after feeling the nearly 1 million cubic meters of space inside, both of them opened their mouths. This, master, is so big. Ahem, bigger is better, bigger will hurt, it will hurt people. Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but cough slightly when he heard what the two said. By the way, you two take this copy of the Great Compassion Mantra for Transcendence. We at Tiandao Pavilion always pay attention to the beginning and end of everything we do. Chen Daoshuan casually spent another 20 system points to exchange 2 copies of the Great Compassion Curse for Transcendence from them all, and each person lost 1 copy. Although this low-level transcendence spell, even 1 copy can allow 2 people to watch and learn it together. But 10 system points, he still doesn't pay attention to it now. This time the 2 of them went to the eastern region, and just the remnants of the Ren family could probably make him another fortune. In addition, after Qian gets everything done in Beiyu, hundreds of thousands or even millions of system points will be credited to the account every year, which is not enough. Transcendence is a big deal. After all, every enemy who died in his hands or in the hands of his disciples was a good person who sacrificed his own life to bring system points. He couldn't help but love him. In his eyes, the closest people in this world, apart from his disciples and the people around him, are the kind people who send him points. Therefore, these great benefactors must be properly released after death. And then raise their ashes and supplement calcium to the surrounding plants, which can be regarded as helping them accumulate the last few merits. Master, disciple is ready. After a while, the two of them came back from the main hall. Each had brought several pieces of clothing with them. During this period, Chen Daoshuan also spent some system points to exchange several sets of clothing for Yorong and placed them in the Lingqi Palace. Go ahead and remember your teacher's instructions. Chen Daoshuan nodded slightly and said no more. Yes, I will take Master's words to heart. Leng Yanren was slightly stunned. Master was reminding her that no one would be left alive, and not even a corpse would be left behind, right? Let's go down the mountain and play. Li Yorong shouted happily and pulled his senior sister down the mountain. For a moment, only Chen Daoshuan and the Wudao tea tree were left in front of the Tiandao Hall. Remember, your own safety must be the first priority in everything. Hey, he ran away before he finished speaking. These two disciples are really impatient. Chen Daoshuan was lying on the wicker chair of enlightenment. After muttering in his mouth, he found that the two disciples had long disappeared. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it, and fell asleep. From the Zulu Mountain in the Northern Territory to the Eastern Territory, the two of them were not in a hurry along the way, especially since Li Yorong had never seen much of the scene at the foot of the mountain. Along the way, the two of them hurriedly walked around, fearing that they would have to walk for more than half a month to get there. As for Qian, in less than half a day, they had arrived at the Leng family in the Moro Kingdom. Leng family, meeting hall. Senior, you said you were sent by Yanren's master. I wonder what the senior's orders are. The head of the family had a Cold War, stood aside respectfully, and asked Kai Yun on the main seat. Ever since Leng Yanren suppressed the Luo Tianzong that day, although they have lost contact with the Leng family has still benefited a lot. In this Moro country, they already enjoy the same treatment as the royal family. Even the emperor of the Moro kingdom, Wu Feiyong, had to discuss many important matters with the Leng family. What the Lord Pavilion wants to do is not for us servants to ask. Why hasn't the emperor of Moro kingdom arrived yet? Kai Yun was too lazy to explain, but for the sake of his eldest aunt, he was not too rude to the Leng family. With his immeasurable realm, he has no problem sweeping across the Northern Territory, let alone waiting for a mere emperor in this small Moro kingdom. The emperor of Moro kingdom, Wu Feiyong, has met Senior Qiyunzi. Just when Kai Yun was a little dissatisfied and even planned to go directly to the palace to capture him, a deep voice came. Wu Feiyong straightened his back, walked into the hall, and bowed his hands respectfully to Kai Yun on the main seat. Kai Yunzi is dead. I am Kai Yun, a servant of Tiandao Pavilion. Kai Yun raised his eyebrows slightly and corrected his statement. Yes, I have met Senior Qian. I don't know why Senior came to this tiny place like Moro country. I will definitely try my best to help. Wu Feiyong did not dare to assert his identity in front of Kai Yun. After all, this was a powerful person in the infinite realm who could sweep across the Northern Territory. After hearing his words, Kai Yun touched his chin and began to think deeply. Although the pavilion master simply told him to gather the entire Northern Territory forces, he did not give him a detailed plan. I guess it was a test for him. In this case, he must do the things ordered by the pavilion master beautifully. The pavilion master is like a fairy. He should no longer care about fame and fortune. Using his reputation to gather these forces simply lowers the status of the pavilion master. But it would not be appropriate to use Kai Yun's own name to conquer the Northern Territory. Yes, my eldest aunt is from the Northern Territory, so why not just use my aunt's name? Kai Yun's eyes lit up, and he finally thought of a solution that had both ends. Not only can we win over the Northern Territory in the name of my aunt, but the pavilion master will also be happy because the disciple's reputation spreads across the Northern Territory. Perfect, simply perfect. Kai Yun immediately had an idea in his mind. From now on, the Northern Territory will be taken over by Leng Yanren, the direct descendant of my Lord Tiandao Pavilion. Respected as the Empress of the Northern Territory, from now on, you can enjoy the protection of my Tiandao pavilion by turning over 20% of the treasures of heaven and earth every year. You will immediately notify all the third-rate and above sect forces in the Northern Territory as well as the capital." Kai Yun's expression was extremely serious, and he announced to the Leng family and Wu Feiyang who were present. For a moment, everyone present was stunned at first, and then everyone in the Leng family was overjoyed. Even though Leng Yanren had no contact with the Leng family, other aristocratic families did not know about this relationship. If Leng Yanren becomes the Empress of the Northern Territory, wouldn't the Leng family be the largest family in the Northern Territory? "Don't worry, sir, my Leng family will take care of it right away." Before Wu Feiyang could answer, Cold War took the lead and knelt down on one knee to answer. "Do you have any opinion?" After Kai Yun nodded and let Ching Ching leave, he looked at Wu Feiyang who had not spoken yet and asked. "No, I don't have any objections to this junior. It's just that although the strength of the Northern Territory is not strong, the forces are mixed. I'm afraid it won't be easy for everyone to agree on this matter, right?" After Wu Feiyang pondered for a moment, he expressed his opinion. If Leng Yanren proclaimed himself emperor, he, the emperor of the Moro kingdom, would actually benefit from it, so he would naturally not refuse. This isn't something you need to worry about. Although I am just an inconspicuous handyman in Tiandao Pavilion, in this northern region, Kai Yun snorted coldly and made up his mind. He must handle this matter beautifully and not damage the face of Tiandao Pavilion. If someone doesn't open his eyes, he can only say sorry and use the book of salvation given by the pavilion master. Scripture. As a result, Leng Yanren, who was rushing to the eastern region with her junior sister, established the position of Empress of the northern region without her knowing it at all. As the Leng family and the Moro kingdom spread the news of Qian to various forces in the Northern Territory through various channels. For a time, the entire Northern Territory was boiling because of this incident. Establish a female emperor and take charge of the entire Northern Territory. Although Leng Yanren has extraordinary talents, in terms of cultivation, I remember that she is only Universal Truth Realm 7th layer, right? Even the current heads of the three major sects in the Northern Territory, who possess the strength of the Nirvana realm, would not dare to say such words. Fellow Taoist, be careful what you say, be careful what you say, that cold devil will destroy the whole family, be careful to cause trouble. Not to mention, the person who brought the news this time is a powerful person from the infinite realm. We in the Northern Territory can't stand it. Various forces in the Northern Territory were talking about it. Qian only gave them 3 days to express their stance. On the first day, no sect spoke. Golden Cauldron Zong. Sect Master, let's stop being such a pushover. If the sect master is the first to agree, wouldn't it destroy all the majesty our Golden Cauldron sect has established in the Northern Territory over the years? Yes, sect leader, even if we agree to establish Leng Yanren as Empress, we can wait for other forces to speak first and pretend to be hesitant for a long time. Yes, if possible, maybe we can hold on until later and talk about it. Maybe we can reduce the annual 20% tax to 10%. Listening to the chattering words of many elders, Yang Chun perfected being frowned. Shut up, have you forgotten how Luo Tianzong disappeared? Do as this sect leader says and declare your position today to respect Leng Yanren as the Empress of the Northern Territory. Yang Chun perfected being got tired of hearing this and shouted angrily, shocking everyone so that they didn't dare to speak anymore. If you want to negotiate, you must have the corresponding strength. Nowadays, let alone Qian who is in the immeasurable realm, even if Leng Yanren appears, it is enough to easily wipe out their Golden Cauldron sect. Only Yang Chun, who had witnessed the tragedy of Luo Tianzong, knew the horror of Leng Yanren. That's okay. For a time, many of the elders present did not dare to raise any objections. After all, the Golden Cauldron sect still had the final say in Yang Chun perfected being. Everyone was dissatisfied, but they still conveyed the message honestly. The Golden Cauldron sect respects Leng Yanren as the Empress from now on, and is willing to pay 20% of taxes every year to seek the Empress protection. As soon as the news of the Golden Cauldron sect spread, it immediately caused a sensation. Many forces did not expect that the first one to bow their heads would be one of the three major sects. At the same time, those small forces that were originally attached to the Golden Cauldron sect also expressed their respect for the position of Empress. This also made many other small forces start to hesitate. Po-Yuan Temple, I wish to respect the position of the Empress, pay taxes and gain the Empress protection. After Golden Cauldron Zonkai expressed his position in the morning, Abbot Konkai of Po-Yuan Temple made his decision in the afternoon. For a time, 2 of the 3 major sects in the Northern Territory had recognized the position of Empress and were willing to pay 20% of the tax. By the end of the second day, nearly half of the forces in the Northern Territory expressed their respect for Leng Yanren's position as Empress. The rest all want to see the decision of Hongguang sect, one of the 3 major sects. Halfway through the third day, the Hongguang sect still did not express its position. During this period, another 20% of the sects in the capital expressed their willingness to respect the position of the Empress. Leng family. Sir, now 70% of the forces in the Northern Territory have expressed their stance. What should we do with the remaining 30%? Cold War came to the hall and asked Qian in a low voice with his eyes closed. 30%. Is there a leader among them? Kai Yun slowly opened his eyes, a trace of displeasure flashed across his face. In his opinion, the fact that the Northern Territory could rely on the Pavilion Master's Tiandao Pavilion was a gift from God. There are still a full 30% of people who don't know how to praise. If this matter cannot be solved to the satisfaction of the Pavilion Master, it will cause him to be angered, which will not be fun. Although there is no leader, most of the 30% are watching the Hongguang sect's decision. Now among the 3 major sects, only Hongguang sect has not expressed its stance. If this problem can be solved, the other sects should not be entangled anymore. Cold War had already understood the news clearly before coming to report and gave his own suggestions. Hongguang sect, guide me, I want to see how many lives this Hongguang sect person has. Kai Yun stood up straight away, took Ching Ching directly to him and asked him to point out the direction, then flew straight to Hongguang sect at high speed. Hongguang sect, the main hall of the sect. Sect Master, there is only the last half hour left, are we really not going to express our position? I think it's better to announce the agreement to the public as soon as possible, otherwise we may not be able to bear the consequences. Yes, Sect Master, the 20% tax is a lot, but it is not unacceptable. Many elders looked worried and urged them very worriedly. Don't panic, everyone, there's still half an hour. As one of the 3 major sects of the Hongguang sect, we still have some say in the Northern Territory. Based on my guess, the other party will definitely come to notify us in person. At that time, we can take the opportunity to negotiate. Even if we don't reach an agreement, we will still pay 20% of the tax in the end, which will be beneficial and harmless to our Hongguang sect. This time, the Golden Cauldron sect and Po-Yuan Temple were the first to take a stand, showing their cowardice, but our Hongguang sect was able to persist until the end. In the future, among the many forces in the Northern Territory, we, the Hongguang sect, will definitely be the leader of the 3 major sects. A flash of light flashed in the eyes of the leader of Hongguang sect, and he calmly analyzed the current situation. However, from the traces of sweat on his forehead, it is not difficult to see that he is still a little nervous. While everyone was waiting nervously, "Ants, get out!" A voice of dissatisfaction reached the ears of everyone in the Hongguang sect. Under the roar of the powerful man in the infinite realm, all the disciples whose cultivation level was lower than the universal truth realm felt dizzy and were shocked to the point of losing consciousness. Broken. Sect Master, we're here. The elders in the palace were instantly panicked. But only the sect leader's eyes lit up. Everyone, isn't this opportunity coming? Even if the negotiation fails later, our Hongguang sect can still issue a statement. Follow me, don't panic. The sect master's words fell on the ears of many elders, which indeed made them feel a little more at ease. However, they were still nervous and followed the sect master out of the hall. Not long after, everyone arrived at the square. Kai Yun was suspended above the square, looking down at the group of ants that were making things difficult for him, with a very dissatisfied look on his face. We've been waiting for you for a long time. Don't be impatient, senior. Come and have a cup of tea and let's talk. Feeling the terrifying pressure of the infinite realm, the sect leader wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said respectfully, "I'm talking about you. What is your identity, and what is my identity?" I am just a handyman of Tiandao Pavilion. Are you worthy of talking to me? When Kai Yun heard what the other party said, he became even more unhappy. Originally, if the Hongguang sect had some difficulties or encountered trouble, he would just leave it alone. But it seems that the Hongguang sect is waiting for him on purpose. How dare an ant play tricks on him? This matter is our Hongguang sect's fault. Don't be angry, Senior. We are willing to respect the position of Empress. Senior, please sit down. When everyone heard Kai Yun's words, they immediately panicked. The sect leader held on to his courage and said, reaching into his arms and taking out the notice that had been prepared long ago. No need, in the next life, be careful. After the third day, all the forces in the Northern Territory no longer had differences. As for the three major sects, only two major sects are left. Hongguang sect completely disappeared in the Northern Territory. I'm afraid you don't know, but that Master of the Infinite Realm is actually a Buddhist monk. That day I was not far from the Hongguang sect. Although I didn't see clearly what happened, I heard bursts of chanting from the Hongguang sect, and there was even a faint appearance of Buddha's light. Perhaps, the Hongguang sect was influenced by the great Buddha of the Infinite Realm, and moved out of the Northern Territory out of guilt. In a tea house, while drinking, several monks talked about the mysterious disappearance of the Hongguang sect. Oh, but why, when the Hongguang sect moved, the mountains were leveled? Could it be that they were taken away together? Today I went to Hongguang sect to find out the results, but I found that Hongguang sect has been completely reduced to the ground, and not even a hair has been seen. Another person answered. The entire Northern Territory was abuzz with discussions about the Hongguang sect. Only in Poyuan Temple, Abbot Kongkai sighed when he heard the sound of chanting sutras from the Hongguang sect and the faint appearance of Buddha's light. These people still don't know what that person's methods are. It's not like someone has been converted. It's clear that the whole sect has been saved. He was outside the secret realm at the beginning, but he was caught by that adult and helped to achieve salvation. Is it not clear? Leng family. After absorbing the blood and energy of the Hongguang sect, it didn't improve much. Hey, it's a pity that the remaining sects have bowed their heads, otherwise they might be able to break through the first layer again. The Pavilion Master is really a kind man. If it weren't for the Pavilion Master's instructions, I wouldn't bother to give them salvation. After Kai Yun finished practicing, he opened his blood-red eyes. Fortunately, my aunt's position as Empress has been fully recognized by the Northern Territory, and all forces will pay 20% of the tax every year. The task given by the Pavilion Master this time must be considered a success. Kai Yun thought of this and finally showed a satisfied expression. However, he is not in a hurry to return to the mountain, but instead sits in the northern region. Every year, the major forces pay 20% of the tax, in exchange for the protection of him, a strong man in the Infinite Realm, who sits in the Northern Territory. If he can't handle it, Tiandao Pavilion will solve it. As for the Hongguang sect that was wiped out in the process, Kai Yun didn't care. Whose fist is the truth in this world? Even if he had escaped from the secret realm according to his original plan, the first thing he would do would be to sacrifice and absorb all the creatures in the entire Northern Territory. Compared to the Pavilion Master who only collects taxes and provides shelter, it can be said that the Pavilion Master is already too tolerant. In front of the Temple of Heaven, Chen Dao. Since Qian has joined Tiandao Pavilion, he will also receive rewards for killing enemies. In Chen Daoshuan's view, it was normal for one or two sects to sacrifice themselves in the rectification of the Northern Territory, and there was nothing wrong with Qian's methods. But when a prompt sounded, Chen Daoshuan was a little confused. Ding, the host's great disciple, Leng Yanren, has been appointed Empress of the Northern Territory. The magic weapon of merit. Emperor's seal, 10,000 system points. Empress of the Northern Territory. Didn't Yanren go to the Eastern region? How did the Empress of the Northern region come here? Hiss, it wasn't Kai Yun who did it, right? Chen Daoshuan pondered for a moment and faintly sensed the location of the two disciples' jade pendants. They had indeed gone to the Eastern Territory and did not stop in the Northern Territory. After casually taking out the Imperial seal and examining it for a moment, Chen Daoshuan lost interest and put it away temporarily, planning to give it to Leng Yanren when she returned to the mountain. Both are magic weapons of merit, but compared with his Hongmeng ruler, this Emperor's seal is simply a world of difference, which makes him not interested at all. As for what happened to the position of Empress, we will have to wait and see when Kai Yun returns to the mountain to find out more. Anyway, he was rewarded with 10,000 system points, which made his sleep a little sweeter. ... Half a month passed in a blink of an eye. The news that a female emperor suddenly appeared in the Northern Territory spread like wildfire. Even the Eastern Territory and the Western Territory adjacent to the Northern Territory were talking about it. Senior sister, aren't you from the Northern Territory? How can anyone dare to claim the title of Emperor or Empress in the Northern Territory? To be honest, only senior sister is worthy of the position of Empress of the Northern Territory. But don't worry, senior sister. When we return to the Northern Territory, I will help you beat up the guy who dares to call the Empress. At this time, Leng Yanren and Li Yorong had arrived in the eastern region. After hearing the rumored news, Li Yorong waved his little fist unhappily and said, "It doesn't matter, the Empress of the Northern Territory is just a clown. Do you know where the Ren family is? It's more important to take care of Master's affairs first." Leng Yanren's face was expressionless, not caring at all that someone in the Northern Territory dared to call herself Empress, and there was a hint of disdain in her tone. Yorong has never been down the mountain on weekdays. He can't find the Ren family. Why don't we go find a restaurant first and have a good meal of roast chicken, roast duck, roast goose, braised pork? Well, the main reason is that you can find out news about the Ren family in the restaurant. Sister, what do you think? As Li Yorong spoke, his saliva flowed out unsatisfactorily. He blinked and looked at his senior sister and asked expectantly, "Why, just say so when you're hungry." "Well, this is indeed a solution, let's go." Leng Yanren slapped her forehead helplessly. How could she not see Yorong's plan? But not to mention, Yorong seems to be slowly getting smarter since practicing the techniques given by his master. Although she was obviously hungry and gluttonous at the moment, it was not easy for her to think of going to a restaurant to inquire about news. Not long after, the two of them found a city and picked a restaurant. Even though Leng Yanren's face was covered with gauze, there were still many pairs of eyes staring straight at her along the way. Leng Yanren simply exuded a strong evil aura. Even if those people were lustful, no one dared to get close to her. After all, the desire to survive still defeated Say. "Boss, give us the menu." As soon as he entered the store, Li Yorong waved his hand and shouted, "Okay, fairies, this is our menu, please take a look." The waiter saw that both of them were extraordinary and must be cultivators. If he greeted them well, a reward of a spiritual stone would be more than his salary in several years. No need to look at it. Didn't I tell you, go to the menu and order one of everything on the menu? Li Yorong did not pick up the menu, but repeated. He even looked at the waiter with an idiotic expression, feeling that he was not very smart. "Just do as she said. Except for the meal money, I will reward you with everything else." Seeing this, Leng Yanren rubbed her temples helplessly, then took out a spirit stone from the storage space and threw it over. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.